You cannot wake anyone up. No one. You just can't wake them up. We're live, architects of humanity. Like to say, what's up? The badgering podcast. What's up, brother? He says, my alarm wakes me up. Mr. Rex, good to see you, bro. Says, depends on the person. An open mind is the key. Yeah, man. You try to wake some people up. It's like, you think about some of the streams that we've had where we talk about thinking, open mind, being aware, and then people come on and then they spout their beliefs, not even about the subject. So you see the mental illness that is all throughout society. People are just walking around basically with metaphorical straitjackets on, all doped up, thinking that they're thinking coherently when they're not. Mr. X, what's up, bro? Good to see you.
Hey, good to see you, MD. Good to see you. Great topic. Yeah, I mean, we'll have guests come on here, and you can't wake them up, but as long as they're giving their point of view in a clear and coherent manner, not trying to hijack the stream, nothing wrong with that. But I accept the fact that you can't change people's opinions. Sometimes it just takes time too.
Hmm. I mean, some. White Heat says it's military. We follow orders so people die. Every conceivable thing has a hierarchy, and every institution has a rank and file. Wake people up, not overly. You ain't waking nobody up. The fact that people following orders ain't waking up. They're
No.
asleep basically. The general public has got the worst case of Stockholm syndrome that we've ever seen. Yeah, man.
Hmm.
The Stockholm syndrome, man. Religion and politics is an extreme case of Stockholm syndrome. You know, it's it just some people you gotta just accept the fact that they're gonna be zombified, and this happens to people that we love and everything. Crackhead Sally, what's up? Sometimes waking up is incredibly painful for them. People don't want to wake up, Sally. Look at the followers of your homeboy, Quackery. Ain't nobody trying to wake up. They knowingly grifting. It could happen in stages, but honestly, you got to be careful who you wake up. That's another thing people don't think about.
Yes.
They think, oh, we're gonna go around waking everybody up. That's not really the smartest thing to do.
No. That's a zombie mentality too. If you're trying to wake everybody up, because
Yeah, yeah.
you're not seeing the real picture. That there's people that even if you try, you're going to get attacked. There's zombies.
Hmm. Well, when you look at the amount of grifters on the internet in life in general, like I noticed Quackery had his thing where he's like, oh, what's up, truthers and all of that. I mean, these people, I can't even believe it's a state of immaturity.
Hmm.
They're like, look, man, don't call me no truther, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm a guy that searches for reality. That's the greatest task in life, you know.
But in fairness to Quackery, I was just going to say, I see him wearing the wife beater nonstop. I wonder if he's doing
Yeah.
that on purpose.
Constant wife beater,
Is
constant.
he doing that on purpose to relate to his audience? That's what I wonder.
Yeah. Yeah, they definitely zombies cuts,
Oh, yeah.
definitely. And I'm not rude to you, Sally. I mean, Crackhead Sally's kind of a funny name. I mean,
It's,
you're a troll. You know that. I see you over on Zach making those comments before. I mean, you might be trustworthy or you might not. But see, it's different over here. I'm not trying to be like, hey, what's up, Truth? Look, I tell people straight out, this is a stream for people that are in search of reality. And if they don't like it, that's okay. I'm not trying to like garner an audience to say, oh, hey, hey, Crackhead is right. I've streamed with only a couple people watching.
Mhm.
And I stream for me and the people who really want to listen afterwards. I'm not begging anybody to listen and not scamming with gematria numbers and all of this. White Heat Truth says Hirohito never awakened a sleeping giant, nor filled them with a terrible resolve. Yeah, man. It's definitely some serious stuff, man. Gematria is gambling truth. Yeah, man. Using truth seeking to catch the gamblers and play them against themselves. And it's really sad because these people already have a hollow void. That's the gambling says that right there.
You know, it's smart and it's evil at the same time because it's smart that there are large populations of degenerate, sick minded gamblers who are addicted to this. But at the same time, it's evil because you're taking advantage of them, you know?
Hmm. Yeah, yeah,
I'm
no,
not going to say
definitely.
it's stupid evil, it's smart evil because there is a market for it.
I mean, it's malicious. It's malicious, and I saw the amount of trolls that were just. I mean, it's just crazy when the disrespect, and that disrespect comes from a lack of respect for themselves.
I
It's
agree.
the only way, you know,
But
and
it's the
just
same thing you dealt with
yep,
the dating people. Remember? I
mhm.
mean, those guys wanted to believe the dating coaches, like the guys like Dippin and a few other, plenty of others. They didn't want the truth. They really didn't want the
Yeah,
truth.
no, they're horrible, and that's the same thing I see. You can't help them beyond a certain extent.
Hmm.
Sally, crackhead Sally said, "I am not a troll." Well, I will be the one who determines that, and your actions, really. You have such a negative view of others. If I had I wouldn't even be reading this. You've been on YouTube for a year. Great. Congratulations. I've been alarmed at how people engage each other. Yeah, just the way you leave comments over on Quackery about me. I feel like being online for so long has uh, made you rude to people. Nah, I think you're just looking
I mean,
into
that's
it.
very trollish. I gotta be
If
honest.
she can troll if she wants. I mean, I'm okay. You already seen the amount of trolls. I still got love for crackhead Sally. You cool?
My only issue is the people that you know claim to have your back, but then they do some pull some shit. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
Because there's
You
a
know,
few times I'm not mentioning. I mean, you know
well,
who?
the thing they don't realize, I don't need them to have my back. You've seen all the beef I've been through, and
Yeah.
it's like, is me coming into this world, me going out of this world, and it's great that if they're gonna stand there by my side, but hey, it's okay if they don't, and that's part
But
of being a man.
but that
A
tells
lot
me
of
about character because I know you're putting a lot of effort into these streams, and it's just like to disrespect that is I don't know. I don't like it. That's all I'm saying is I
Yeah,
don't.
no, and it's gonna happen. I was talking to Scribe right before I started the stream. That's why I was late. He
Hmm.
might come on in a little bit. I told him, yeah, I said we were talking about some of the other stuff throughout that Billy Carson thing, which was hilarious with him and Wes Huff,
Hmm.
and it just the amount of grifters. I mean, that was kind of funny when all of the Christians started making the thumbnails. They were like, "Folks, we finally got them." Oh my goodness. And his reaction, that's what really sunk him when he was like, oh, he knows billionaires and tried to sue God, threatened to sue him and all of that. I'm like, wow, why would you do that, man? That's your it's like, so what? So what? And I've noticed anybody that tries to go that route, it's like, wow, it just screams dirty. It
Hmm.
screams dirty. It's like, look, if somebody wants to come out with something and say things, whatever, fine, fine. And the, this whole nation is built on such a rotten corruption, and people lie. They the founding father. That's just a brutal lie. That's like the base lie. It's like, wait a minute, ain't nobody found nothing. It's like this was a thievery. And now, if people can't be, when they say, oh, what about forget the past? Well, burn the rebel flag then, if they want to forget the past, right?
That's true.
It's whenever you take it on ends, you're like, wow, you see the dirt, man. Cut
Yeah.
says, we found Zach's fake four ciphers English gematria and L. Ron Hubbard's quack book Battlefield. Wow, really?
Mhm.
Holy smokes. Wow. So I wonder if the Hubbard, I don't think he's related to Ron Hubbard.
I thought he changed his name personally. Somebody said that is his real name, but I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't care either. I mean, if that's when I looked at some of the stuff some of his followers were saying, and I said, wow, these people are just, it's a cult. It's
Is
a
it?
straight up cult. And it wasn't even like, I think, who was it that said, I think, is this Retro? Retro, is this you?
Hey guys, yeah, retro. Hey, what's going on?
Hey,
Greetings.
True.
yeah, man. Yeah. Yeah, all of that stuff, man. It just, I think it was funny, because they took it so serious. It's like
Hmm.
Bree said, or CR, Conscious Rise. I mean, that's a hilarious name. I mean, it's like, I mean, I hope that girl heals herself, man. A lot of mental stuff going on there. A nice person, but definitely out to lunch. Like most, I mean, we all have a bit of psychosis. That's just the way it is, man. Susan Sontag said it best: sanity is a cozy lie, and
Hmm.
those who claim to be sane are usually the most insane. Yeah, it's a cult, 100%, absolutely. Yep. The,
Sane people just pack the bodies in the suitcases better.
you know, yeah, man. But yeah, mentally asleep individuals, you can't wake somebody up. They live on autopilot. They rely on conditioned habits, unquestioned beliefs. That's the big problem. The unquestioned beliefs and distracted routines, man. It limits present moment awareness. And we don't see that at all, really. It's very rare to see somebody with a present moment of awareness transitioning to a waking consciousness. I don't know if that would have to do with a waking life. I couldn't watch that whole movie, man. The animation was too jiggly. Um, and it
It's
requires.
really good. I think I mean, it does take a few watches, and just it's more of what it's written about. Meaning, if you can look away from the screen and just have it on the background, it's kind of worth it. I think
Mhm.
it's a Art Link letter kind of thing. Is the guy's name that put it together, and it's a bunch of philosophers and New Age stuff from that time period of the new 2000s. It does a good job of what it does. The animation does need some help, but yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And it supposedly got a deep story. I probably should just listen to it, see what it's saying.
Oh,
And
Civil War's on YouTube for free. I posted the link on the last stream.
oh, the
Yeah,
civil,
the
yeah.
guy is going through his own fate, that's probably already happened to him, and he's coming to terms with basically the afterlife. And there's a lot of quotes of the Bible, but it's more of a philosophical view of the Bible instead of a strict religious one. And that's where it bends the curve for people that can understand it without having to be a church person. But it talks about numbers, I think, in Psalms and how they have to do with everyone's life and stuff like that. And you can find verses that parallel exactly your life. It's like bizarre.
Wow. Yeah, I might have to check it again. I mean,
This is a movie about death.
I think it's called The Waking Life. It's an animated film, The Waking Life.
Oh, The Waking Life. Okay.
Yeah. Frailty, man. I'm telling you, Frailty with Bill Paxton, that movie is deep. Brian
They give
Nichols.
it for free. You know me, I love free.
Yeah, Frailty, I don't think, yeah, you got to look for that
I
one.
look
It's not.
for it. No, you gotta rent it right now.
Mhm.
You gotta rent it.
That's actually a pretty good movie, though. I might be doing an interview on a channel on Sunday, but he pre-records, so I don't know when he's going to upload it.
Mm-hmm.
About that movie, Citizen Vigilante is a good movie. I never checked that. I gotta look it up.
But yeah, it's free, Civil War. So if you want to check it out,
Yeah, I
it,
had saw that a while ago.
oh, you did see it. Okay, yeah, because it's kind of like it. I don't know. With the zombies out there, it makes sense that people would be wiping each other out. That seems to be the most realistic scenario. You know.
But there was
That
another
is
one.
part of the mind control thing. The zombie thing is another way to divide humans and make us dehumanize humans.
Yeah.
Hmm. I think there was another one I saw when the Civil War movie came out. There was another one that came out with that movie.
Yeah, it's on Netflix. I just don't have Netflix.
I forgot the name of it though, and I forgot
I know
where I
what
saw
you're
it.
talking about. My daughter saw that. She has a
Yeah,
Netflix.
and I saw it for free. This was like last year, and that's when I saw Civil War too. And I was like, okay, Civil War was a little more like direct action. The other one was with the electric cars that
Oh yeah.
yeah, and they were smacked, like they made it down to the edge of the highway and then they saw the traffic jam with cars with nobody in it. And then they see one coming down the road and it smashes into the other one, and then another one's coming and they come at like intervals because they're like on auto drive. I
Mhm.
forgot the name of that one, but that one had a few actors in it that are known. Civil War had one or two, and I mean, it had some good points.
Yeah, Kirsten Dunst got real old real fast.
Oh, she is
Man,
brutal, yo.
I
That
mean, I'm an old guy, and it's like I remember her when she
busted,
was a young
yo.
kid.
She is done.
I
She is
know,
just. She was never really a looker to begin with, but
I know, but
she is.
that's like shit,
His
you know.
so-called life. She pulled off the my so-called life thing where she could play all that stuff in the high school style, MTV sponsored show, and yeah, she pulled off the Romeo and Juliet. But besides that, I thought yes that she was picked for her acting, not her ability to portray something.
Yeah, she's looking like, I mean, a South Park character or something. I don't know what's up with her.
It's like off
Yeah,
a cliff.
yeah, just done. Like I'm like, whoa. I mean,
But I
just
mean, it goes from like okay, decent to like whoa.
done,
I'm not even
done.
considering it.
And she just that ain't my type. Even when she was, I guess, passable. Same thing
Yeah.
with Cameron Diaz. Just not. I showed the pictures of her before. And they take these below par women and push them into the spotlight because that's what they're playing to for these films.
Well,
The average
Kirsten
girl,
Dunst, but she's been famous since she's been in movies since she was a child.
yeah,
She was in
yeah.
was she in an Interview with a Vampire, that movie with Tom
Uh,
Cruise? Yeah, I think she
as
was.
a kid, right? Yeah, I think so.
Kid,
I
as
think,
a kid.
yeah,
I
she
think
was
this
a
is all
creepy little
pre-planned.
kid, man. She was creepy as a kid, man. It
Yeah,
just,
but what I'm saying is to be a kid star and then grow up in the movies, that's all planned. Just like Leonardo DiCaprio was a kid when he
oh
started.
yeah, they're all, yeah, you
It's all
already know.
chosen people. Trust
Yep.
me.
Mark, good to see you, man. Cell was in entertain. Yeah, Cell was okay. It was kind of deep. Robbie, what's up, bro? Thank you, man. Excellent show. Yeah, man. We kick
I
it
love
here.
Cell. Thanks for pointing that one out. White Heat. I love the Cell. Artistically and psychologically, that's a good one. Have you seen Stay? It's very similar. Stay. Stay.
I've seen the thumbnail. Who's in it?
Ryan Gosling and Ian McGregor. Ian McGregor's like his therapist, and Ryan Gosling, you can't tell what the hell's going on with him. It's like his schizophrenia is affecting the weather, and it's like very bizarre film. It's really good.
Schizophrenia affecting the weather. Wow.
Wow. And
Yeah,
how long ago was that out?
like 20 years ago.
Oh wow. So that was way before Blade
Yeah.
Runner. I kind of enjoyed the Blade Runner 2049.
Really?
Thank you. Yes, you watched that. That's awesome. Thank you for watching that.
Thanks, man. Yeah. Is it 49 or 60? It's 2049.
2049 is the later one with Anna de Armas plays the hologram girlfriend, and that's what I'm building now. I'm trying to build how they did that. I'm trying to build that.
You trying to
It'll come. Don't worry. It'll be
man.
here.
You know what's amazing about Blade Runner 2049? One guy did a review years ago when it came out, and it was deep. And I looked deeper into it, and he's like, if you noticed in the movie the metaphors of love, the girl who played Love, that I mean, she played a very good role, robotic, sinister looking chick, and she was very brutal and cold. Love. And Joy, which was his girlfriend, that girl, I don't know if she's an Italian actress, but
She's all over the place in her
yeah,
descent. I think
yeah.
she's like, yeah.
Attractive girl, and they both got attractiveness. Even though Love is a cold, like robotic, she still
I
has.
think she's Cuban and whatever you just said, crossed or something.
Oh, okay. And the other
She's
one,
some special.
sure. Yeah, but they were both. I mean, she's to me a little, more attractive than Love. But remember, in the movie, he had to kill Love, like to save Joy or something like that. Like Love killed Joy, and that was a
Yeah.
deep.
Yeah, the story within the story. I didn't even think about all that, but I love
Right.
the names, and
Yeah,
all the women roles were pivotal in that film, meaning they could have done better with the male roles compared to what they did with the female roles. I thought his boss cop was point on for the few minutes of screen time she had.
Well, if you look at because it's a deep one. When they looked into it, and I had to look at it, and I was like, wow, that's a deep, deep metaphor. Love killed Joy because she stomped on the transmitter or something that allowed her to exist outside of the holographic apartment.
Yeah,
And
his USB drive.
so Love killed Joy, and then he had to kill love. I forgot how he put it because it was a few years ago when it came out, and it was deep. I was like, wow, that's a deep way of looking at it. And I guess Deckard himself, uh, you know, Harrison Ford was a replicant, and I thought about that. I said, yeah, maybe Rachel and him had a kid, which basically the part two was kind of about that. I mean, it's deep. Blade Runner 1, the sad thing is that when you look at the background for Blade Runner 2049, it kind of is like what they want to push it to, that dystopia where it's constantly raining, it's foggy, it's like London on steroids. Just
It's like my book.
yeah,
my romance. It's always raining in my romance
yeah,
novel. If anybody read it,
yeah, it's like no sunshine, man. It just that compared to the future that was supposed to be like the Jetsons, they turned it into a dystopian type of world. And this is something where people, when I look at what's going on with the whole billionaire thing and just the mind, the mental insanity of people thinking that politicians are going to help them, it's the ultimate slave talk. It's ultimate slave talk, and that in itself prevents any type of productive conversations. If we try to speculate
yeah,
and
it's
go,
definitely a pyramid power scheme, brother. Yeah, like from the top down, and the politicians are not even at the top, and we're it's just like, and we're just fed from that, off the steep incline, and
Mhm.
people just that like you said, they think politicians might help them, and it's just like, yeah, by changing one law, but the one law they change is going to make 30 billionaires rich, and then do worse things to the public in 10 months.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when we add into the factor that most people are basically certifiedly insane, then it starts to make sense to say, okay, I mean, some of the people that come on the show are cool. I call that girl Bree because she reminds me of this chick Bree. She could be, but I guess the name Conscious Rising is what it is. Um,
Lost Mr. X. Mr. X, come back on.
Oh yeah, he said he'd be back in 20 minutes. He says it in the private chat. He's at work at night, so he pops in and out. X-Files season 6 episode, The Rain King. I never saw that one. Or maybe I saw it and I don't know that was the name. Because the X-Files, some of the X-Files are deep. Some of the
I think we
X-Files
should have a
are.
religion in the future based on X Files and a religion based on Donnie Darko. And I think the rest we'll figure it out after that.
Donnie Darko was a deep one too, man. What did you get from that? I think that's a film I got to watch a few times.
That hits me so hard because it resonates where I grew up. I mean, that's a few miles down the street from where I grew up, is where the fictional place it takes place at was less than a 20-minute drive from basically the house I grew up in. So
Wow.
it's just, yeah, so it's like a strong Defense Department area and basically a haven for Cold War families that they thought could have survived an 80s nuclear war. So that area is full of those kind of people. And I think that's what it was hinting at behind the veil of that film was, everybody was kind of like a good old boys network of defense people that lived in that area. It kind of shows that, but it doesn't get into it too deep. But it's
And
just like there's like weird hints to things in that film. But sorry, go on.
what was it, West Coast or something?
Oh no, it's actually Virginia, so it's called Middlesex, Virginia, where it is. There's a tiny towns out there. There's Matthews, Virginia, there's Saluda, there's Deltaville, and there's Middlesex. None of those towns even have a major grocery store in them. You have to drive to the town I grew up in for a grocery store or now a Walmart. So those towns, they have like still like the butcher or the small stores that almost family owned groceries in those small areas. And that's the town they depict in that is down the road a few farms over from where I was growing up, in the town that had a real grocery store and eventually a Walmart, my town. But that was like the neighboring towns that it's like one family was the police department kind of town.
Wow. Wow. I have a friend, her brother stays on about 30 acres. It's underdeveloped in some area in, I think, Virginia, West Virginia. And she said, yeah, there's like 2,000 people in the town. The only store is a CVS. and you'd have to, like, I guess, drive to the next town, which I guess would be not that far, um, to like go to the supermarket and stuff. It really shows me how, like, throughout the entire country, even when I was in the military, you would see these Midwestern towns, and the girls would, they'd have pretty girls, but they would just be dying to get out of there. And they would cling on to almost, any dude, especially if they were in the military, just to kind of get away, kind of like an officer and a gentleman when, they were in, like, I guess, this Midwest town, and then the women, he ended up like marrying the girl, Richard Gerbil Gere. And yeah, that, when you look at the whole development, then you say, okay, if it's not for this thing called industry or whatever, like, machine this is, that if you're living in a town and you have your farm and you're self-sustainable, you think about that, it's like it shows us just how fragile our ecosystem for the human life is that, we have to make sure that we're getting a clean source of water. If something happens to that clean source of water, whether it be the spring drying up or the river getting polluted or something, it can lead to the demise of the entire village or town if it grows into a town, or if it grows bigger into the city. But what makes it really grow into the city? And that would be industry. And it's like I had said it before, when people wanted to, like, start their own little area, their country, and it's like, well, don't expect the government to do it for you. They
I
have
mean, you bring up a good point. Like, you wouldn't believe who lived out in the area I lived in. So Tom Robbins, famous writer, he lived in a little bit even closer to where they're talking about in that Donnie Darko. Tom Robbins had Jitterbug Perfume, big prolific writer. He died last year. And then, like, John Lennon and Yoko Ono bought a house even closer to me than Donnie Darko, but right before he lost his life. They bought a house out there, and then they gave it away after he passed. They gave it away, his wife did, Yoko, to like a Boy Scouts of America, like Cub Scout leader dude that was like ex-Marine. And they made it like a boys' home for this ex-Marine guy to take, young men and like raise them at John Lennon's house, which was out there in the sticks, out in the middle of nowhere.
Wow. Wow, man. I tell you, when I think about my younger years in the military, it was like, I guess, a boys club that was for men, basically. And you just had to grow up quick. I mean, you were immediately looked at as a man, given weapons, armory, all type of
Yeah, there seemed like a bunch of orphan young men in the South, or their parents gave them up in the 80s for some reason. I don't know what was going on. Do you was thinking back of what was going on? I was
Yeah.
threatened with juvie, but I wouldn't end up in a boys' home immediately.
The Gen X from the 70s to, say, the early 80s, even though Gen X supposedly ends at 79, 80, you still had it like infiltrated in. But Gen X, we were the unwanted generation. We were the latchkey kids. We were the movies that came out, irreconcilable differences.
It's like they accepted nuclear war was going to happen. It seemed like right before we all came to fruit.
It was just hatred. Kramer versus Kramer. The kid was always the problem in the movies. And I noticed how the military pushes that. So it's like, you think about that, like, wow, the music, like how we talked about White Lines coming out a month and a half before the movie Scarface in '83. That's government propaganda issuing, in my opinion. And same thing with the Gen X, the boomers, the millennials, the Gen Z, CR, what's up? Tom Robbins was a genius. Love all the books I made time to read.
Thanks. Like, I actually never finished Jitterbug Perfume, but a friend gifted it to me. I always remembered who he was because he lived there, in a nice big house out in this really nice area of Urbana that's by the water. And I was like, oh, that's Tom Robbins' place. If I drove out there, people would tell me that. I barely knew the guy, but someone said, you need a book. And he gave me the book. I was like, thank you. So it's
And
like I started Jitterbug Perfume for
is that
sure.
the guy that wrote Donnie Darko? Who's Tom Robbins?
No, actually, his dad worked with my dad. So we've talked before, way back in the day on D&W's show. So yeah, I actually grew up at NASA daycare because my dad was a single father, and Donnie Darko, the guy that wrote that, his dad was also a NASA engineer, and he worked on the Mars lander that took the pictures and sent back some photos. And his dad had to develop the technology for wireless photo transmission, which was the whole story around the other movie he made called The Box, which was based on like a old Twilight Zone or something episode or something. But you have to hit a button, you get $1,000,000. But someone else, a family at NASA, their other kid goes blind or something, and you have to shoot your wife to get their sight back. It's all bizarre. Sorry to ruin it for everybody, but it's much more complicated than that. So,
And what's the name of that movie?
The Box.
The Box. Okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
the guy only made 3 movies. He totally flopped in Hollywood, guys. The guy that made Donnie Darko, Drew Barrymore actually helped him make that movie. She hired everybody for free, basically, to get him into Hollywood. And then he did the Southland Tales and The Box, and both of them horribly flopped. They're all good movies. Everything this guy has done is magnificent. It's just over most people's heads.
wow. Yeah, Donnie Darko. It's like, so what was he? He redreamed his life to where the jet engine fell through the house onto his bed or something at the end.
Yeah, I mean, there's trying to say it's all within you. Like you are the quantum effect yourself. So he would quantum computed himself without a computer, just mentally. He changed his own life by just deciding. He decided to let God or the universe take him out.
Hmm.
So he had a chance to fall asleep in his bed and know the airplane part was going to hit him. He successfully time traveled because there's a lady that lived down the street that had done it. So he had a book that this this
He was
this
supposed
lady that always waited at her mailbox. He had this book that said something. He learned how to time travel. He
so
didn't tell everybody what he was doing,
was
but he
the movie
started.
was him living a timeline that he wasn't supposed to live, that he was supposed to not be alive, and that's why it ended with him going
Yeah,
back.
that's why he ended it, just to make sure to save a girl's life. Right.
Okay, okay, I see. Yeah, and then I think what really pushed that movie too was the fact that they remade Mad World by Tears for Fears with
Yeah.
they,
Gary Jules
yeah,
did that remake.
very yeah, melancholy effect to it, because the original in the 80s
Was
by
upbeat. Yeah, that had a faster tempo.
yes, and it was pretty, yeah, it was actually a pretty grooving song. This one was extremely melancholy, still very catchy tune.
It's
Um
beautiful slowed down. I
yeah,
prefer the slow Gary Jules version, to be
it
honest.
yeah, I mean it's there. It could be a little depressing, but yeah. White
Lord of
Heat.
the Flies has been remade a couple times, so I don't know which one they mean, but yeah, that's an interesting book. I
I
was made to read that book in school. That was like the third book I had to read. I think the first book I ever had to read was Island of the Blue Dolphins, and Lord of the Flies was soon after.
I think Lord of the Flies is a story that they use to try to brainwash us into thinking that if we were left on the island as kids or even adults, that we would turn into this savage hierarchy that we see in this death cult disguising as civilization. So it's like not cooperation, brutal force of subjugation, and
Well, I
people
think
ending
it was written by adults that were trying to explain a political climate. I don't think they were trying to explain it with kids, except they had to use kids to make it a more exciting story because they knew no one was going to read it if it was about adults. Just like Animal Farm,
or
I think it was allegory for something above that level at the time. I'm not expert on it, but I had to read it.
I mean, Animal Farm, I mean, that's another good one too. The animation in that from way back is just amazing. Miles, what's up, brother? Good to see you, man. Yeah, Animal Farm, when I saw that, I was a kid and I liked it because of the animation. And then it gets you to look at it. But as far as being, that young and watching it, I think I was like maybe 8 or 9. And I got some of it. I got some of it when the animals rebelled against the farmer, and then they basically started running the farm themselves.
What is
and
The
trade.
Wall really about? What is The Wall, the Pink
The,
Floyd movie?
oh,
What is
the
it? Is it a war protest or
No,
something
we
different?
actually, I have a whole stream on that. It's called The Wall, and it shows like a glass bricks on the back of a stage, like kind of like I made the thumbnail with Frank Zappa said, when the illusion is not economically feasible to sustain itself anymore, they'll just move the table and chairs out of the way, uh, clear the stage, pull back the curtain, and you'll see the brick wall. And in the thumbnail for the one I talk about, the wall, is that I put glass bricks in the wall, in the brick wall that's behind the stage, with like symbols of brand logos, television, stuff like that. And the wall in the movie, it was mainly building a wall around yourself. And I think his father had died in the war or something like that. And it was like, I took it as a kid when I heard the song, that it was a building a wall. Partially that wall, I maybe I misinterpreted as the wall of society, the wall of like another brick in the wall that keeps us in, but imprisoned in the government's concentration camp. So if you, by what you do when you survive, when you,
You said it was Sid Barrett went nuts in the band. I still don't believe that. I think they went nuts and got greedy with money, and he wanted to do something else. He was sane way after that and making music. So
yeah,
I never understood.
I think
Sid
they,
Barrett was a really pivotal part
yeah,
of Pink Floyd.
I think they blamed it on like psychedelic use and all of that. And
Right, but in that hysteria and profit, like, did that, I read a bunch of that too, and it seems like that wasn't actually like,
what you know, what
yes, there
might
was
have
partying
been,
going on, but weren't all of them doing that? Even
well,
John Lennon, all of them?
I think what really happened was all of these musicians, all of them, it to me seemed to be government psyop, CIA type of thing. So it's like Pink Floyd, when you listen to the music, it's amazing, but it is very trippy. And all the Jimi Hendrix, all of that stuff going into the funk and the disco and the rap, all of it is a psyop. And it's very hard to see. And this is why it goes in perfect with the name of the stream. You cannot wake anyone up. It's like just talking to somebody's right. Uh, you know, just trying to explain to them that, listen, some of the Pink Floyd songs, just the way a Hollywood movie maker can make a movie and put hints in it about what's happening in society, Pink Floyd somehow has that in a lot of their music. Um, but also a lot of the music, if your mind isn't strong, you can get drifted away into it and listen to that their music for decades. There's a channel, something Logo Media. They're religious guys, but they made very good points. They're older, but they were like, look, when you hear these songs from the 70s, because I had older siblings, I would hear a lot of older music. And you hear it, these songs are 50 years old, even the ones 60s, the 50s, the Elvis and all of that. You're looking at songs that are 70 years old. They're still pounding these things on the radio and digital media now. And it's because they're brainwashing devices. Now, some of them, a song can make you feel good. But when you get fanatic in it, which is what they want you to become, fanatical, to be a fan, now it becomes a problem. Where I would say, if I liked a song, like say I like a song from Pink Floyd, people, the zombies would automatically be like, they would start to worship the band. They're so great, everything. And they do have some good stuff. They have some good connecting stuff. Like White Heat is right. Animals, I think Animals did set the stage for The Wall. There are other albums, Dark Stage of the Moon. They have some pretty good songs. But when I look back at the Doors, all Mind Control tunes. Yep, the Beatles, definitely, man. It's Mind Control. Yeah, they could have lobotomized him with acid. Who knows? I mean, there was something going on with that. Maybe he took it and it awoke in him, like how Retro's saying, and he saw something and he wanted to take it in a more realistic direction, and the band sided against him. That could be a very real scenario too. But the whole thing is all of these musical songs, when we look at the ones coming up to the newest songs, if you try to wake somebody up to these songs, it's harder than sports, the ball chasers, because look at Lady Gaga when she came out. She had that I don't know if it was a bad romance, but she had one about a disease, a sexual disease that she was looking to, acquire from the individual that she liked or was attracted to. And I'm like, what type of, why would this message be in the music? A lot of messages of,
It's witchcraft, but I mean, it's local witchcraft, but it gets turned into global when they play it all over the place,
yeah,
right?
yeah. Well, look at the masters. I think the whole witch making, ritual to make music, because music, when you think about it, they say that it's trapping something else. So when you're it's like recording something on those old school cassettes. When you press record, if something's in the background, it's going to pick that up. So it's like saying, if we're recording something, say a track in the studio, there could be something else that could be put on that recording that either you can't hear, because the fact that we got different ranges of hearing is just fascinating. See, these are the things that are fascinating to me, but to most people, they'll find something like uh, a government made propaganda to be fascinating, which I used to find stuff like that fascinating. I'm still addicted. I haven't played video games, but I loved video games and watching certain programs, video television programs, and doing things that were mindless. Now I see that, okay, you can't, if you're going to touch something
Yeah,
like,
he brought up Brian Jones, and that's another one. Just like, he was the core of the Rolling Stones. He managed them, produced them, created them,
oh
picked out
yeah,
the
he
name for
died, right?
them. Yeah, I mean, like, he tripped on too
Yeah,
much acid,
it's like a
supposedly, too, and then
sacrifice.
drowned himself in the pool. And it's
Oh,
just like, uh-huh.
Roman.
Meaning he wanted to take the band in a different direction too, and they made these people disappear that weren't corporate friendly, it seems.
Well, also, I don't think just corporate friendly. That, I think, is the cover up that really makes it not look like it's a military controlled brainwashing program. Every tone, every tune, every vocal cord, every different instrument has a way with programming the mind. It's straight Pied Piper on steroids. And this is the stuff that it's very hard to acknowledge in the matrix of government. Not to say that this is a simulation, which it could be, but not to say that. It's to say, just in the physical matrix of government, of how it understand, how it operates with us in it, within it, we see that music is like a tactical weapon. If why do you think that they have the drummer in the olden days during the battle? The drummer would be there. The even in World War II or World War One, they were playing. They had speakers on tanks playing music. Drew, good to see you, man. If you want to hop on and the link is on the chat. He says, "I'm awake." Drew my cards, but yeah. Alexis says, "How can I ensure my child will be woke up?" The only thing I can think of is leaving something for the kid, what I would call like the Superman tapes. Like when they were sending Superman on that in that module to Earth, and it had the videos playing, educating him as he was growing, on the journey toward Earth from Krypton. And that's what I was thinking. I was kind of thinking of creating that a few years ago for people, just to put my part to say, okay, if a kid was to listen to this, it educates you on basic things. I remember speaking with a guy from Russia about that, creating something that, like, because most people, you ask them where Zimbabwe is or Cameroon, they don't even know. They say Americans learn geography through war. People wouldn't know where Vietnam or what Vietnam was. I think most people, even though the US was in the Vietnam War, most people still don't know where exactly Vietnam is. I mean, a lot of them
Yeah,
learned.
I mean, they won, so we lost. But yeah, they right. I mean,
Right,
and
right.
then Kennedy wanted to pull out, and that's what changed the our executive branch forever after that.
Exactly.
So we're
Well, even the
still
whole
living the results of those
well,
decisions.
well, now look at this. You know who the admiral was in the Gulf of Tonkin that set off the Vietnam War? Retro.
No, I don't. Tell me. Yeah.
The admiral was Jim Morrison's father. You can look it up. Look it up just to make sure if you want to. But the
Oh
admiral,
yeah, I believe you. I remember that his dad was high up in the Navy. I remember that was part of Jim's life.
yeah, he was a rear admiral, and so he's the rear admiral commanding the fleet at the Gulf of Tonkin, which they say was kind of like a stage thing. IM says Jim Morrison's father was George Stephen Morrison, a rear admiral in the United States. In '64, he commanded aircraft carrier. Wow, yes, because I remember looking this up, and I was like, so now he is working for the military. His son is producing music. The Doors definitely have music that's, you might get a song here and there that might put some truth into it, but their songs and tunes are so catchy that they'll distract you. Sometimes you may even feel pretty good. But when you think of songs, like just the tunes of how the the vocals go, like when he says people are right, the strange, right, when you're a stranger, if you think of the tunes in
Come on, now touch me, babe.
yeah, now that it's like the show tune, the guy jumping onto the stage, he has the cane in his hand, he's dancing, and it's like you said, he's like, come on, come on, come on, touch me, and it's like a show. It's like entertaining your mind, like holy smokes, but what is it distracting me from? Like
The Vietnam shit, whatever
yeah,
they were doing.
at that time, yeah, perfect distraction.
Before I
You know
slip
what, don't think about what
into
we're doing over there, you know
unconsciousness.
and
Yeah.
it had some deep, like Riders of the Storm is a very
Wrinkling
melancholy.
through the other side. We have to say they had some good songs though.
Yeah,
We can rock out to them. We
yeah.
can rock
Well,
out. And when we get sewed back into the matrix and this is just a
well,
flesh suit, we have to
well,
be printed back into, we'll be good.
in the song that you were just saying, what was it? It was, oh man, I just had the point. It was in the song "Break On Through to the Other Side," right? There's a part that they omit now, when like a couple of years ago, when it, like, even on, like, they might play it on satellite radio, but there's a part where in "Break On Through" he says something about everybody loves his girl, and then he's like, she get high, and it would cut out the part high. And so, I saw like the real-time editing. The songs back in
I mean, like Woodstock too peaked at the same time, that all the stuff. So Manson and Woodstock, the Doors all peaked to distract us from the biggest time ever, was right after all the Kennedy stuff had gone down and the world was still kind of shaking on the ground, of looking what had happened. And then they had all these extra distractions to be like back to work, besides what, it's raining. They like to keep people in this fear weird thing. And then a few years later, they had Son of Sam, 1976 or something, 70 something.
yeah, it
But
was
is a human pulling all these strings, or has it got to be something metaphysical? I wonder, but it's just too perfect. It's too
I think it's
perfect to be
both. I
human.
think it's a karmic thing. So Jim Morrison's dad was the admiral thing, and I think karmically Jim was trying to do something totally different, and it was something totally different, but not even of his own full choice. And that's why he disappeared. I think he wanted to do something different.
Yeah, it's just
All
too
these people
perfect for human
disappear that
beings
want to do
only.
something different, than they end up
Right.
doing. Kurt Cobain too, y'all. I mean, I wouldn't call
Oh
that disappeared, but he wanted to do something different. I mean, when I say different,
um,
it's not sellable or as corporate as what they're trying to make them do.
the name of the band, I think, originally was the Doors of Perception, and they shortened it to the Doors because it was
yeah.
all
Aldous
about,
Huxley, yeah, Aldous Huxley's book,
yeah, but
yeah, about Yeah, he was about.
Allen Ginsberg too, the guy who did the LSD thing or something like
Yeah,
that.
have y'all anybody read that? So like the Aldous Huxley books, they're very strange. It's like they almost read as like a diary of going to foreign countries and trying their recipes of, their tribal ethogens. And
Was
he
that
knows he's being
Great?
followed by the American government that's trying to use it as truth serums and mind washing stuff. And he mentions it in his book that he's being followed by them and that some of his samples are being stolen by them and they're breaking into his hotel rooms as he's going around. And he's like saying that in the books. It's amazing that these books are from like the 60s or 50s. They're old books. So it's like, it's wild.
Wow. Wow. There's definitely, when I look back at that musical era, the fact that we have this documentation where we can look back and see that, okay, in the 50s, I think it was like the Elvis and the rock and roll, like 40s to 50s. I guess that would be like the Chuck Berry rock and roll, Pat Boone, Little Richard, and then going into the 60s, now you're getting with the Jefferson Airplane, uh, you know, kind of like, I don't know if it's called, not soft rock, because soft rock is more of the late 60s, but more in the 70s. But just, I guess it would just be rock, like from the rock and
Sure.
roll, the 50s, then you're going into the rock. And then once you get to the end of the 60s, that's when you're hitting mid to end, you're hitting the Doors, the Janis Joplin, the Jimi Hendrix. And these are all mind control programs disguised as entertainment.
Can I mention something about the music?
Mhm.
Because you look at the Vietnam War. Was there ever a war that more songs are written about? I mean, there's a ton of songs written about that
Oh man,
specific
in
war.
Vietnam, yeah. Look at what was it? Credence Clearwater Revival.
Yeah, or
They
the
and they had
Rolling Stones, "Give Me Shelter." I mean,
yes,
it's everywhere.
Shelter. Yep, exactly.
Hendrix.
Yeah,
I mean, tons of music.
yeah. I mean, one war song, even though it doesn't sound like a war song, is "I Can't Get No Satisfaction."
Hmm.
Because it's like a killing. You can't
Yeah.
get no satisfaction. And he's like, but I try and I try, but I can't get no satisfaction. And
Hmm.
that's like, this is what it programs us to do without even knowing that we're programming it to do.
Yeah, the same. If you think about just Nirvana, guys, the most popular songs by Nirvana, just they're basically the song I call them anthems for the simulation. It's just like it's
Oh, no
basically a
doubt.
headless music. It's just like come as you are, never mind. All that stuff is just like it's basically getting rid of your ego, but it's bizarre. It's almost saying just join the conveyor belt, then actually, drop the ego like in the 60s
Well,
and trip out.
notice the conveyor belt. Remember in the and Drew Mott, thank you, brother, for the support. Says Happy 4th of July, zombies love fireworks. Zombies. Oh man, thank you, man. I it's like this brainwashing machine of music is it just I mean, I'm subjected to it. I have to admit, I will listen to some tunes, and somehow certain songs make me feel better. But when we look at other songs, especially we see it in rap, we see it in rock, the headbangers ball, it can it can influence a person to actually do physical actions. And those
Yes.
physical actions, we see it and we can acknowledge it easily in dancing. So a person might be headbanging, they might be dancing, jumping around, whatever. But logically, scientifically, we know the music is doing that. Now, some of those movements, I would say an extremely small amount, maybe 1%, might be involuntarily. So if a person tried not to move or show a little bit of I don't know what it would be called, like rhythm, like tapping your leg, something like that. If they hear a beat or a song that they like, so that would be the test to say, okay, can you stay still? If you can't, it shows just how much this thing can control you. And now we see it with certain rap songs and even some pop songs, definitely punk songs, without a doubt. That if you look at some punk songs, they're just ready to go out and punch somebody in the face or something like that.
Oh yeah,
You know,
mosh pit, right?
I know
yeah,
what you're talking about. You don't need the voice to skull technology. What you're talking about is just the frequency itself. And I agree.
exactly.
So
So it's
somewhere
just the
between
frequency.
2 hertz and 11 hertz, the whole
Yeah,
human mind can be tuned, y'all. It's
yeah,
bizarre.
but this is the most amazing thing. It's a frequency that we ourselves or the youth themselves will turn on and brainwash themselves with. So you look at that level of brainwashing that will buy the brainwashing program, the CD or the song, and will play it. Uh, oh wow! I think I remember. I don't know if you mentioned this, but yeah, this sounds. I didn't know his father was a founder in the CIA. Holy smokes, man! That's
Wow.
yeah, that guy. I think he went on to play classical music. Like I saw an interview with him, the drummer from the Police. Uh, Horror and moral terror are your friends. If they're not, they're enemies. Yeah, Apocalypse Now. Yeah,
Yep. Marlon Brando.
moral terror. Yeah, if they are not, then they are enemies to be feared. Yeah, man, that was I tell you, and again, thank you, White Heat. That's another war movie, like you were saying, the war songs that
Mhm.
they had, the Stones. I don't think the Beatles made any war songs, did they?
No, I did they make anything about Vietnam? I can't remember.
Well,
I
we
can't.
had who was that other song? The Animals. They made a song
Mhm.
about Vietnam.
Yeah.
Uh, they had the Stones. They had I think somebody was telling me that when they ended Jimi Hendrix, he had made that song. I don't know if it was with the album of the Watchtower, but it was something about
Watchtower.
I think it was something about a machine gun, and it was a song about the dude I used to work with in the junkyard back in the 90s.
Mhm.
He told me about that. You know, he was like a rock, uh, like his whole lineage was listening to rock and roll.
Mhm.
And when I look back at that, so we see, okay, you have the war, and then the disco revolution happens. Funk just gets absorbed overnight because it was more of soft rock and funk, as according to the documents anybody can look up, for the musical era of the 70s. And then the middle to latter 70s, that's when the disco era kicked in. And I think it only lasts for about maybe 5 years, 7 years at the most.
Yeah, and then it went to heavy metal and stuff.
Yeah, that was the 80s. So the end of the 80s, end of the 70s going into the 80s, you had the heavy metal forming, the rock hair bands, the glam bands, the
Mhm.
the rap. That's when it started getting on a commercial level because it was existing in the 70s, but more on a grassroots level.
Yeah.
And then we had like that pop synth type of thing. Late 70s, that was like pop music, and Born to Be Wild and stuff like that.
And they were catchy tunes. It was a fun time, a little bit.
Yeah. Samuel says the Police. Zach brings up 201, man, 68. 68. Yeah. So yeah, that when I think about the brainwashing capabilities of music,
Yeah.
you can't wake anybody up to that. If they can vibe with it and they could say, okay, we got ball chasers distracting people. Then we got people, wanting to watch the ball chasers, the music, while sometimes listening to music
That's right.
because the music is there. The music is definitely it's a tough one because if you try to talk to somebody about that, like think about, I remember we would travel places and we would talk instead of have the radio on. When I was younger, I remember having the radio on.
Hmm.
We would drive somewhere with friends and we'd play like a rap tape or something. Christopher, good to see you, brother. Voluntary tranquilizers. Yep, exactly, man. Exactly, bro. Yes, techno wizards like Van Halen. Yep. Yeah, they definitely. I mean, I listen to some Van Halen and it's something about the cuts, that sound with the guitar. And it's like, you're banging on a piece of electronic equipment and it's making, and it's making a sound that can be in a way repulsive but also attractive.
Mm-hmm.
And just like I remember this chick I used to date, she said she listened to industrial, and I was like, what is industrial? This is decades ago. And I think industrial is a music where they just like, it's all like banging on some type of like industrial, some type of instrument making an industrial sound or something. I don't know if you know much about that.
Not me. I lost track of music, to be honest with you. I'm still stuck in the 70s and 80s as far as music goes.
I'm looking it up. Industrial music in the mid to late 70s, a transgressive blend of avant-garde electronics, punk ethos. Yeah, because I remember they had some of the stuff. I think there was a band, KMFDM. What was up with all that Satanic Slayer Ozzy stuff and glam rock? Yeah, the glam rock.
Oh yeah, Twisted Sister. Remember that?
It's just, holy, and a lot of them, man. I don't know if it's a sacrifice or whatever, but I think the dude from Quiet Riot, I think he OD'd. A lot of rock guys. I mean, look at Motley Crue, man. Those dudes, Poison. Remember the album cover? They were dressed up. Poison's album cover, it looks like dudes. I
Yeah.
don't know if I showed it on here or not. I think we did during one stream. I'm not sure. Older stream. Yeah, the Beatles, people don't realize that they started out in Germany. Wow. The Beatles, yeah.
I didn't know they started out in Germany. I thought everybody said Liverpool.
Yeah, no, I could see the Beatles. The Beatles are definitely a creation. There's no doubt about that. That is like, you're talking about brainwashing on like an evasion type level. Like, and they would call it the British invasion.
Yeah.
And then so imagine a 4-man band like that. They come over, and then you got 3 big rock stars right from here. We got Morrison, Hendrix, and Joplin, and they all get offed at the same age, and then that opens the door to Led Zeppelin. So you have Led Zeppelin, and that's English again. So, and then also you have Ozzy Osbourne. I think he's English as well.
Yeah.
So now you have this musical force coming from Britain that is very effective. I mean, you see people get in a fanatic state of mind.
Yeah.
And now that brainwashing machine, which we had our own over here before that was much more powerful than the one coming in from abroad. Because I'm looking at like, okay, when the Beatles and the Stones too. So look at that. You got the Beatles, the Stones, Led Zeppelin, Ozzy Osbourne coming over here. But that's after the previous era started like winding down from all of the rock and roll, the Elvis, the Little Richard, the Chubby Checker, the Supremes, and all of that, and all of it is brainwashing.
Sure.
Because if you look at some of the songs from the 50s, they were very danceable songs.
Yes.
But again, that's the objective, is to distract you. If we're looking at it, and that's a hard thing to like just the way the ball chasing event will distract somebody who's into that is the same way somebody would let the song, and the song I think is even more powerful, because the song, just the fact that we can make involuntary movements when listening to a song, sitting down, tapping our leg,
take a break.
Huh?
No, that's just the system I'm working on. Don't worry about it.
KMFDM, another Hamburg, but yeah, this chick, she used to like that band, I guess. Watched them. Yep, Killed. Yep, Depeche Mode. I kind of liked Enjoy the Silence. It has like a I don't know. I guess maybe it's a commercial beat, but um, I remember they used to play when they used to play the video. I think in the '90s, I never really listened to it, but then like your 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 sometimes your taste changes, or maybe I'm more open and susceptible to that brainwashing melody now. So to be like, okay, now certain songs, uh, different songs that I wasn't open to being listening to 2 decades ago. Now, actually, I can see, I guess, something in it. It's all straight mind control, and we can't wake anybody up. Basically, they have to wake up. That was the whole premise of the thumbnail, where it's like, look, you can't wake anybody up.
I like that. A good thumbnail.
Yeah, just thanks, man.
Chemtrails there, the drones. Yeah, the drones, that's going to be a big part of our life now coming forward.
It's crazy, man. It's
Yeah.
everywhere. It's everywhere. But and then we see that, it's basically the zoo, the lab, or the farm, or maybe all three.
It's true.
Zoo, lab, yeah, farm type of thing. And it's yeah, man. Yeah, it's definitely
It's a
yeah,
complex subject. You can't narrow down to one thing. You know what I mean? There's many different webs, let's shall we say. It's more like a spider web with many different layers, you know what I'm
yeah, yeah. But when I look at the people, or when all of us used to have, or still do, parts of us that's asleep, which basically the way to prevent that, because we can't wake anybody up, but we can become more aware, and maybe there's a position from becoming more aware where there's new possibilities, because we're not that smart right now, but we're doing mental exercises and thought with
That's right.
consciousness. Yeah, and this is what actually it's actually mental exercise in a very unorthodox way, because it's not like we're answering questions. We're actually doing thought. We're building with thought.
Yes.
And
Exactly.
yeah, so we're saying, okay, what are we asleep to? Or what is our conception, or judgment, or belief system, and how do we minimize that? And now it allows me to see something else in that moment. It's not saying I have to totally give it away. It's just saying, okay, just come over here and look at this, and then you can go back to where you are. But
Well,
now,
can I mention something? Like,
yeah,
I just want to say, like, if you want to see how far ahead you are, go to these other streams like you do. Like, sometimes you go to some other streams and you'll see, like, we're way ahead of the game. Some of these guys, they're just zombified. I don't know if you've noticed that in other streams.
yeah, there's a lot of zombification. Yeah, I've
Mhm.
noticed that. That's why, it's like not really much to go on other streams. Like, I mean, I'm busy doing a stream every night. I can't go on another stream. So it's like, unless something circumstance dictates something like that, then yeah, how like it just pops up, it's like, oh, I was free for lunch. I turned it on and boom, like
But don't you
before.
think if it piqued your interest, you would have the time? Like, if it really piqued your interest, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because there's nothing really, when I went on Zach's show, it was like it was the truth thing. And now I
Mhm.
realize that's what, if it was something with the numbers, there was no sense for me to go on there.
Right.
But it was the truth. And then realizing I thought he was cool. And the next thing you know, you see the ego come out. Conscious says, Tears for Fears band seemed more pure in their intentions, but they could have just been laying it out for us to see predictive programming. Yeah, but you see what I'm looking at, and you got a good point there. I'm looking at something even more, that the song is catchy. Shout, everybody,
Shout, let it all out.
yeah, everybody wants to rule the world, Mad World, those are very catchy tunes, and that's the hook. That's the hook. That's the high. So if you look at music, and people have said music can get them high in a way where they feel intoxicated or something. Tears for Fear, yeah, everybody wants to rule the world. When you think, some of the songs did have some pretty good meaning to it, and it actually had a pretty good tune. I mean, even in the beginning of that song, the way they started off, with that sound, and it's like, uh, In a way, I think music, yes, can be used for good and bad. But to look at these, like the psychological point of it, is it almost seems like it doesn't exist or it doesn't matter. Because somebody might say, well, I just listen to music because I like to listen to it. And then I realized, like, wow, there's nothing I can really say to that person, because it's not that anything wrong with them, they just don't care.
Hmm.
Wow, this is a good point. White Heat Truth says Alice in Chains, Pearl Jam seemed like heroin music. That's, see, now you're building on top of it. Real, yeah, this is amazing, man. Because yeah, it's like the music is associated with heroin. I like the way you put that, heroin music, because it does. It does seem like heroin music. And there's other music that seems like weed music, alcohol music. Pink Floyd seems like LSD music, like mushroom psilocybin music. You know, anybody who really can compare the Pink Floyd sound to like the Led Zeppelin is more like the party sound. You know, drinking, smoking, you know, getting high. The Pink Floyd is more of the psychedelic type of thing. And this is a good point. Alice in Chains, Pearl Jams, it seems like heroin music. Yeah. Song is brilliant. Walls come. Yeah, yeah, I remember that song. Yeah. Actually had a pretty good tune. See, and that's the thing, the tune of that song. Yeah, that's actually a good song. Yeah, that's a friendly sounding song, I have to admit. It's, you know, you think about that, and this is where, and this is a far thought of just trying to put it in a context of to distract somebody, say, because that's a song that seems to like calm people down, you know, sowing the seeds of love. It's like a love song. If somebody was angry or was trying to attack you, it could, playing that song,
Hmm.
do something to influence them not to do that. Like, how powerful is the music? Thorogood was drinking music. Yep, they got drinking music.
I
Pearl.
think you nailed it before. Remember when you mentioned certain songs in the 80s were for simping? Like all
Oh,
the simping songs that were out there, The Boys of Summer, Everything She Wants, Everything She Needs.
boys. Boys of Summer might be
Yeah.
the number one. The number, like, that's in the top three simp fest. Like, just the lyrics. Like, when you listen to the lyrics, I was talking about with a friend years ago. We were laughing about it because I was like, "Holy smoke!" So after the Boys of Summer are done with her, he'll be waiting,
Yeah.
and it's just
And at the same time, you had Madonna teaching women to be promiscuous. You know
oh
what I
yeah.
mean?
Oh, when she made like a virgin, all the hoes were singing that, man. They were
Right.
chanting that like if they were a virgin. And it was
Yeah.
hilarious. It was hilarious, man.
Hmm. So
Yeah.
they created boy simps and promiscuous women, and now look what we got.
Yeah. And I mean, it was a time when I look at the brainwashing, everything she wants actually wasn't really simping, because that was funny enough. It's sing, you know, George Michael's not even being straight, but
I know. I know.
yeah, but I give him a lot of credit, man. That song was a hot song, man. That was,
Mhm.
and that wasn't even, that was him when he was with Wham. And you
That's
know,
right.
so, yeah, and it's funny because the album cover of that is just hilarious, man. I
It
don't know,
is.
yeah, if it was yeah, yeah, they really that yeah, that song, you know, basically kind of kept it real, you
I mean,
know.
he was a weirdo, but he had good songs. Like when he went solo, he
Yeah.
actually had pretty good songs.
You know what it is? They would have like the Simpin' song, like
Mhm.
how White Heat is saying she's gone, and then Hole in 'em Oates had that other song, Man Eater. You know,
Yeah.
so, and Man Eater, you know, they were right. She'll chew you up, you know. She'll chew
Mhm.
you up. It just the Man Eater is real. It is definitely real.
Yeah.
Looking at the pathways to awakening, you know, like certain perspectives, you know, they say the shift of perspective, spiritual, psychological, to see different things, to say, you know, just reading and having good conversation with people, you can learn so much.
Hmm.
And you learn it in a fun way where you don't have to sit there and study a book, which studying a book to an extent to me, I like it. I don't mind it really. It's like
Mhm.
actually I feel the same way about it like I used to feel about exercising. I still like exercising, but it's kind of like that, but with the mind. So
Right.
you don't want to exercise all the time, but it's fun to exercise sometimes.
But don't you think some books just put a lot of fluff in there just to make it longer? Like they could narrow it down. It could be a much smaller book. It wouldn't need to be as long to get the point
Hmm.
across sometimes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
that's
No,
what I noticed.
definitely. That's the problem with some books, that it has the fluff in it. Like
Hmm.
that is the problem, because it's just. And one of the authors that I was looking at a while back on YouTube, she made a good point. She said that out of like a 300-page book, she asked a few people she knew, and they basically said about 150 pages is read. So why not just write the book 150 pages?
Right.
So because when I wrote Sperm Street, even though I think it's about 350, but 60 about those pages are links, because it's to the experiment, so people can see and read the actual experiment and know how everything is done, because the book
Hmm.
is very technical.
Oh,
Um,
your book had no fluff in it whatsoever. I mean,
yeah,
I'll vouch
thanks,
for
man.
that.
Yeah, it's yeah, the fluff in the book. It's very hard to finish books like that, because you have to understand. Yeah, it works. It takes a lot of brain power, because you don't want to skip and miss something important, but reading it in a way that's like skimming through it, or like that's the thing with AI now. You can get certain points. You can have a
Yeah.
book and look through it and just type in the chapter and say,
Hmm.
hey, tell me about this chapter and this part right here. Explain this a little deeper.
I mean,
And
I think that's part of zombification to think just because it's a book that and you read it means it's a good thing. That's not true. I don't agree with that. Just because it's in a book,
exactly,
that's look at the evolutionists, is Darwin's Evolutionary, the Descent of Man. Is that really a good read? You're reading nonsense. You know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, just because it's in a book doesn't mean it's good. But we've been trained to think that way. I've noticed that a lot of people are trained that way. I read this book, I read that book, and like he accomplished something. You notice that when they talk, like it was like a badge of honor they wear. It's
yeah,
like
yeah. And it's really not how many books; it's which book.
exactly that's my whole point.
And I have to admit, in reading books, like reading those good books, you're gonna read books that you're gonna be like, man, because I felt that way. I'm like, why did I waste my time reading this?
Yeah.
But I guess there's always a reason. Nothing is
Mhm.
without reason. But when I do get those books, and I'm like, wow, that was, I learned, even if it's from part of a book,
Yeah.
it's very important.
It is. I mean, the last good book I read, and that was years ago, was None Dare Call Conspiracy. I felt there was no fluff in there, and it was a real eye-opening book. Made me totally change my way of thinking.
Who wrote
But
who wrote that?
I'd have to look it up again.
That sounds familiar. That book.
Yeah, I'd mentioned it multiple times on the streams, but I didn't get bored with that book. I could read the whole thing, from beginning to end, and it was a great book. And I'll look it up right now. I got you on. And of course, your books too. Don't get me wrong. You know what I mean?
No, definitely, man. No, I appreciate it,
Your
man.
books are great.
Yeah, I
And I've
definitely.
got no reason to say that other than that they were good. You know what I mean? I'm saying it because it was good.
Thanks, man. I
Yeah.
definitely appreciate it. Yeah, I hopefully I can have something out. I mean, I know it's just been delay after delay, but hopefully soon I was thinking of actually doing like a partial fiction
Hmm.
combined with factual stuff too, because sometimes it's easier to tell the truth through a character.
I think so. Now, I don't think you should give up on your animation. I think with the AI, those are great. That's a great way to communicate and a great way to advertise your books too.
Yeah, yeah, the
But
anime.
also, it's Gary Allen who wrote that book, Gary Allen, Under Paul Conspiracy.
Mm,
But
okay.
yeah, but no, I definitely think that animation shorts like that will get you pretty far. Just keep pushing them out there, and hopefully one goes viral. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that would be great, man. It's
Hmm.
it would definitely help. Um, Mark says, in general, Reading has been shown to make people better at writing and speaking. I find it helps me keep me sharp to some extent. Yeah, I definitely agree. Reading, it clearly helps.
I mean, we're reading right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
We're reading right now. We're communicating. So
yeah, exactly. This little bit of reading and talking, even though it seems like a little bit, is actually very good exercise for the mind.
it
And
is.
just like we're playing doing calisthenics.
You know,
Uh,
what's great for calisthenics of the mind is learning another language.
mhm.
That's been proven actually scientifically. They said that it helps prevent Alzheimer's. Helps
Yeah,
prevent.
IAM
Yeah.
says that's true, Mr. X. Great information can be obtained unfiltered. Google and ChatGPT are huge filtering systems, and unfortunately, many people use and believe them without further investigation. Yeah, absolutely, man. They already People are already not questioning AI. Like you have to do two, three, and even more. You got to check. You got to do research on. Just also think about it common sense wise, and just say, okay, what is this thing actually telling me? And understanding that somebody programmed it, so it's going to have differences in responses. I haven't had the time to read. Yeah, I mean, with all even audio, listening to audio, I know something happens differently to your mind, especially when you read by candlelight or sunlight. It definitely has a difference than when reading something off of an electronic screen because you're looking more at a blue base light as opposed to a full light spectrum if you're reading in a daylight or through by a candle or something like that or incandescent. um yeah, yeah, so that I'm just looking at the core conceptual of aesthetic influences on the
I think pretty soon we'll be able to do that in a virtual world. Read by candlelight. You know what I mean? I mean, we'll have it. You know,
in the pod.
in the pod. Yeah, that's why I say the pod's going to be irresistible. We're going in the pod. I don't care what anybody says. Let's keep it real. You know, Hollywood is Hollywood. Real life is real life. You know what I'm saying?
You think it's like that movie um what was that movie where Tom Cruise in Minority Report, was it?
Yeah, Minority Report. That was filmed out by me too. That was Beaver Dam, and right down the street. That was like 6 miles from my house.
Hmm.
Wow.
There were so many of them. I don't know which one. Oh no, I'm thinking which one am I thinking? Mission Impossible. Now I'm getting confused.
Hmm.
Um, I don't remember. I remember heard of Minority Report. I probably saw it,
Oh,
but so
and you
long
got to
ago.
see. No, you
It
have
was, it was
that
the
one.
best modern Spielberg film, I think. Best modern Spielberg.
Yeah, you got to see that, man. You
Okay,
have
I'm gonna look it up.
you put that on your list. Frailty. I think you saw Gattaca, right?
I saw Gattaca with the the they were cloning the humans, right?
Ethan Hawke and his real life wife Uma Thurman that have a kid now up there in the mountains. But yeah, they're
Hmm.
divorced, happily divorced.
Oh, shit. Yeah, he Gattaca. Well, the Minority Report, that one you're gonna be like, definitely like, wow. I mean,
Hmm.
that's a deep. That's actually pretty good. It's better than Mission Impossible. I didn't see the whole Mission Impossible, but it's like Minority Report is some. It's up there. It's definitely up there. You'll be reading with a heads up display on your Google Ray Bans. Yeah, you know what?
It's
That's
true.
true. Yeah, he's right
Yeah.
about that. See that Google Ray Bans and being inside of a pod, that's what he's talking about, conscious rising. Like being in the pod, like in the Minority Report movie where the guy would plug in and they're in like a little pod, but it's like a, a mental vacation or something, or I don't
Sure.
even know if vacation is the right word.
Or like Total Recall or something like that. Same idea. Just you're somewhere else, but your
Yeah.
body's in a pod.
Yeah,
You know.
exactly. And
Hmm.
then but in Minority Report, they were doing it like just like an experience, like watching television for 2 hours. And then you got to
Hmm.
come back to this reality to do some, I guess, some type of regular work to, have enough money to do that. So that was more of a luxury, you know.
Oh, I see.
So it wasn't like they were, because think about it. Why would they want to give you something where you could escape that way? So they would be getting something back. According to the Matrix and movies like that, what you're giving back is your power, your
Yes.
energy. So like
Yes.
the battery. And
It's
so
just our footprint, our carbon footprint now. It's just like cheaper to keep us in a hard drive than it is to let us, go burn a bunch of stuff and fill the sewage and buy toilet paper for 39 years till we have a heart attack from cheeseburgers.
Hmm.
I mean, yeah, it's some crazy stuff. Like I heard there's a data center in North Ohio and it uses about 400,000 gallons of water a day
Look at
to
that.
cool. And that's just one that we know, I mean, there's other ones too, but I don't know if there's, uh, I mean, like you were saying, what, Niagara Falls too?
Yeah, there's one in Niagara Falls. They built that because I was always thinking there's a big water supply there. But man, they're going to double them by next year, so we ain't seen nothing yet. And the ones that are going to double are going to be much bigger than what they have now.
Yeah, this is crazy,
So
man.
we're on the cusp right now.
This is like, and a lot, and everybody's in Fantasy Island. Everybody is, you can't wake nobody up. Everybody, you try to talk to somebody, look at the last month, straight ball chase worship.
That's right.
And I don't know, did the World Cup happen or it didn't happen yet?
It's still going on as far as I know.
Oh, so yeah, so
The
we're in
news talks about it. I don't watch it, but the news talks
prime
about
season, prime ball worship season.
it. Hmm.
Yeah, this is like it's crazy because people, again, just like if we're talking about music, and we're all susceptible to this, so it's not like we're saying we're better or whatever. We're saying,
Oh
look,
no.
look at all of these different devices that's created somehow to, in one way or another, distract us or control us. The enemy
Right.
doesn't have to defeat you, just has to distract you.
And there's no stopping AI either because, or the data centers, because you cannot stop something on a global level. It's if we don't do it, China's going to do it. One way or the other, it's happening, whether we like it or not.
Holy smokes, Samuel, man, good looking out on this. He said Peter Thiel anagram is the reptile.
Who is
Let me,
Peter Thiel again? I forget.
He's the one that with the other guy runs the Defense Department's version of MySpace that looks in between your ears while you sleep.
Oh, okay. Wow.
wait. He does the MySpace what?
I'm just saying they use military programs that use AI to track people and find out what you're doing, flag you, and then send a drone to, take care of you if they want to.
Wow, this is crazy. Peter Thiel is holy smokes, the reptile, man. That is like hilarious.
That reptile is definitely a god that they worship. 100%. That's a god they worship. I know that for a fact. Yeah.
Yeah, I am says Minority Report is a guy Anderton. I think it's John Anderton exposes a pre-crime shutdown.
Palantir is the name of what you are talking about. Of Peter Thiel's company is Palantir from Lord of the Rings.
Yep. Top Secrets. What's up, brother? Yep. He says he runs Palantir. Yeah. That Minority Report. I mean, there is similarities in a lot of those movies. I have to admit, there's very much similarities too. We're seeing it now.
Hmm.
I mean, it's definitely Gattaca, Minority Report, few others put into one. They Live, 1984, Brave New World, and now we see people just straight, in a different sense, zombified, but of the mind.
Yes.
It's very hard to wake them up. It's just not going to happen.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it's just saying, okay, look, at your own pace, kind of like Conscious was saying. It just, yeah. Wow. Yeah, there's definitely
But there's nothing to be scared of because, like, I hate it when people get all freaked out and scared about the end of the world and this and that, the Antichrist. Because it's like, wait a minute, guys, you never know when your last day is here on Earth. Don't
yeah.
sweat it. You know what I mean? Do not sweat it. Just live your life. You won't be here forever. So,
I mean, really contemplating where we're going is possibly one of the most important questions a person
Oh, I
can.
agree with that. I agree with that. It's just don't freak out over it, you know?
Yeah, yeah. The whole when see, and that's where people will get on a type of on the sometimes on like that religious or that
Hmm.
paranoia was probably a better
Yes.
word. Yeah.
You see all these cult groups, sometimes they'll sack. There was a group that did it for the year 2000. It was ridiculous. You know what I mean? They all committed
Try to
sue.
do straight
Yeah.
Heaven's Gate type of stuff, and it's not really. We don't recommend that. This is
That's
staying
why
with
I think, you know,
guidelines.
I try to stay within the lines, but it's just like these people freak out and they get paranoid, and it's like, calm down, man. It's like,
Well, a lot of the it's the state of mind, and we see it with the sports and all of these other things. It has people's the emotions that yeah. Oh, okay. So you microdosed shrooms. Hmm. Wow. Wow. Yeah, that the paths to awakening. It was saying that inward exploration in when I typed it into the Google thing.
mhm,
Um, Experts describe this process as turning away from external noise, such as a constant digital media stimulation.
mm.
Hmm. Honestly, I forgot the name of the doctor, and he was doing some research on what just the electronic fields do to people. And that's something that, you know, it's like we, it's so convenient with the communication we have today. And you
It
and I
is.
remember when it was the telephone with the rotor type,
Yeah.
and it's like you look back at that, and then even going to the one with the push buttons in the 90s, and then by the
Mhm.
time the mid to late 90s, you're getting into the Motorola. Some people had the cell phone. um, I had one early before the Motorola. It was the brick.
Oh, the brick.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that was in like 94. And I only had it for about 6 months because I remember one, my sister said this lady had got like, she had got a medical issue from what she wasn't sure if it was that or whatever. But um, then I didn't get one till like early 2000 because people already had the flip phone. And then once, and still it was the phone, but now with the internet, the communication is just so uh,
Hmm.
on next level,
It
basically.
is. And we're taking advantage of it. Let's face it, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, and that's the good thing to be able
Yeah.
to have, a conversation about stuff and say, okay, let's play a type of a mental calisthenic to think
Hmm.
about certain things that when we look at it, we say, okay, mentally asleep, somebody like an individual on autopilot or, you know, has a conditioned habit, unquestioned beliefs. So that's one thing too. You can have a belief and it can be saying, look, okay, you don't want nobody to question it, but it's to understand that to say, okay, that could be in a way that
Hmm.
no new information is allowed to come in. And I can understand in some instance because when I look at something that if it really it all has to do with the evidence.
Sure.
So if it's yeah,
But it
that,
comes down to the individual. Wouldn't you agree, MD? Because it's like, okay, you went on Gematria's channel with the quackery, and you never got taken in by the numbers. You know what I mean? It didn't really phase you. So I think it all comes down to the individual,
mhm.
what this media can affect, who it's going to affect. It just comes down to like who you are.
Yeah,
If you're brainwashed, you're going to be susceptible to this stuff, you know?
I think it's like not drinking and going to a place where everybody's drinking alcohol. So I didn't
Good.
drink alcohol. I didn't drink the juice. I just don't drink. So it's like
Mhm.
um I didn't find anything like I found more the conspiracy stuff interesting.
Right.
Conspiracy stuff, that's how a lot of people we see it, even with the Billy Carson thing, when he
Mhm.
was he was messing with Wes Huff, and those Christians don't play, so they caught him out there. And I think Huff also was facing criticism, but it was a hilarious little back and forth on the internet. What was it, last year or something?
I'm not too familiar with that. What was he doing, Carson? What was he saying?
It was like Carson was on an interview with Huff, and he said something about Jesus not being crucified. I think, I'm not sure. I'm just, you know,
Hmm.
I don't fully remember, but what he was claiming, let's put it this way, what he was claiming that was in this thing called the Codex or something, uh, Wes Huff turned around during the interview, because it was on like each one of them was at wherever they were at. He turned around and he pulled out the book and he said, "This book right here." And then he broke it down and it kind of showed that what Carson was saying wasn't correct. And that sparked the whole big thing. And it was kind of funny. It was just a back and forth. But
Oh,
well, both of them are very much still in that camp where I don't think it's very scientific.
well, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of religious grifters out there. There are plenty of them. You'll
Yeah,
find more of them than any other group.
yeah,
You won't find genuine religious people. They're hard to find. I mean, but the grifters for religion, they're everywhere. Everywhere.
yeah, yeah. The religion and also the space religion. You have like somebody had said in the chat on one of the previous streams that Billy Carson went to the Galactic Federation of Light or something like
What?
that.
Oh,
Yeah,
jeez.
it is so psychiatric ward. It is crazy. I remember this chick was saying that she used to go to this site, Ashtar Command.
Hmm.
Like, what is Ashtar Command? And
Right.
it's a whole other level of nutcase. It's a whole other level. It's like you're looking at people that just um when the more you learn about the world and the way some people think, it shows you a very broad spectrum of thought.
Yes.
And to acknowledge that, to say, wow, this person thinks that way, and
Hmm.
there's nothing wrong with them thinking that way, but I'm actually learning from it. I'm not just interacting with the person, I'm
Yes.
learning. And we're all, yeah, this is,
Just
yeah,
like the laws of stupidity. You got to see it to believe it sometimes.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah, yeah, he was definitely called. It was hilarious, man. It was definitely some hilarious stuff. It just that whole sector of I guess it would be called the space opera metaphysical. I really don't know what to classify it as.
Maybe she took a trip with some hallucinogens or something like that, and that's where she got it from. I don't know.
I was thinking about doing a stream. Remember we did that one with the mushroom that people
Yes.
claim to see the little people.
Right. Kind
Yeah,
of got derailed though a little bit. I can't remember that night it got derailed. I think that was the night Scribe came on and there was some nonsense with the two pack or something.
yeah, yeah. It was kind of so.
We
Yeah,
could always hit that one again. Hey, that would be because there's a lot of information on that. They say what 90% of the people who taken that Chinese, it's a Chinese mushroom, I believe, and I can't remember the name of it, but they say the same thing. They see the little people. Now, how is that possible? How is that possible if it's just chemicals reacting? I don't think it can be. If you're seeing the same thing, it's got to be real.
yeah, yeah. It's not saying that it might be something that is a how you can look at something through a certain lens, like say a thermal vision, and you
Sure.
see a heat signature of where something was,
Hmm.
possibly something that allows a person to see a little deeper into reality.
Yeah, see, that's a great point. Like from last night's stream, not everything we see is reality, and I think some of these effects of these herbs, these mushrooms, prove that. I'm not encouraging people to take mushrooms. I think they can be very dangerous. You know what I mean to the wrong person, especially myself. But there is a reality that we can't see. That's kind of that can really be proven that there is entities or beings that we just don't see. We're blind to it.
Yeah, yeah. And knowing that, or even speculating on that thought without, totally accepting it, but just acknowledging it is can be beneficial.
I think so.
Yeah. To say, look, it's more than what we think it is, our perception. But to wake people up to that, again, yeah, it becomes it's definitely a task.
Yeah, I mean, as long as you're having fun and enjoying the, you know what I mean, doing the, and it keeps, motivated for research. That's all that matters at the end, So, because everything is based on self-benefit, you know what I mean? If you're
Mhm.
growing and learning like I am, then great. You know what I'm saying? Just because other people won't accept it, no big deal, you know? But that's on them because if you can bring an opinion out, but you can back it up with data and facts, and they still won't accept it, then they're just closed-minded people. They just want to believe what they want to believe, at that point.
Oh, we saw it with the guy when I was showing the illusion of the cube. Remember?
Yes.
And it was hilarious because I'm showing the illusion and I'm saying, look, this is on one side, this cube,
Mhm.
the middle square looks like it's orange in comparison to the brown squares.
Right.
But when you cover it, you see that they're all actually brown. And you saw right away it's because of the shading.
Mhm.
One's in the shade, one's in the light. It affects the different contrast, which affects our perception.
Exactly. And that's great stuff because that teaches me something that I didn't know, that the shade can affect my perception of
Mhm.
reality, or where the light is pointed can affect my perception of reality.
Mhm.
And you proved it right there. Unlike the numbers, which is just throwing out a bunch of numbers and saying, this is it, you know what I mean? With
Mhm.
no proof at all. That's showing, something with proof. And so that, yeah, you're right. That was a prime example of somebody rejecting an explanation with something backed by data, backed by facts.
Mhm.
And of course, you showed it with the example. You did the testing,
Yeah. And
and I love it. But
yeah,
other people, a lot of people don't. They're
yeah, and well,
blind.
that was a classic example of you show it to him, and then he still isn't convinced, and it's like, okay, I'm not here to convince you. I'm showing you the evidence. If
Hmm.
you don't accept the evidence, that's okay, but that's your position.
Right.
You're not accepting the evidence, and sometimes they'll try to act like the evidence isn't actually evidence to try to
Yeah.
justify what they're believing in. And it's like, if that's what they want to believe, fine, because it's really not about, you can't, like we were saying, you can't wake anybody up,
No.
and it's kind of a dead end, that we don't want it to be a dead end, because you want to help the person, you want to be able to help somebody, you want to be able to say, you know what,
Hmm.
I know I can say something to try to plant the seed to wake somebody up. And that's good in the first sense. But then we also know that there's certain people, are we smart enough to know how not to wake up the wrong person?
Exactly. Or to know if that person is not never going to wake up and they're going to turn on you in an instant. You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying?
yeah, the cipher.
Yeah. Yeah, we had plenty of those in the other stream. You remember plenty of those. They were not, remember, most of those guys, I'd say 90% that came on were never really BP. You know what I mean? They'd
Yeah,
never
no,
really
a lot of them, yeah, they were kind of out of it. Yeah, just
Yeah.
you have a lot of people that, there's a lot of mental illness. There's
There
really,
is. There
you
is.
remember, it's like asylum. You've seen
It
with
is.
Maxer and them. I mean, Street Max is straight out of the asylum.
He is, literally, too, actually.
Yeah.
I think he did time in the asylum.
Oh
But
man.
yeah,
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 it's definitely. I remember, man. There was, yeah, many characters, and I think that people need some type of mental therapy, talking with somebody. I mean, you get so much out of talking with somebody in comparison. It's like a real live mental exercise, carrying a conversation that has meaning. Possibly our reduction valves from Doors of Perception book. Yeah, yeah. Lucid dreams are amazing. Lucid dreams are amazing. I have to admit that that is something that uh, a lot of people don't. You can't, again, you can't wake anybody up to it. You just have to experience it. And also, people that experience it, some people still don't get it. That's the craziest thing. So you got all these different levels of acceptance even after somebody has experienced something, or maybe they didn't experience it as deep as somebody experienced it. So different depths of, having a lucid dream or some type of vision or something that comes to somebody like through a part of their life, especially a sleeping dream. But some people have claimed to have them when they're waking. I mean, I'm not too sure about, but I mean, I can't say that it wouldn't happen. The mind, what's up, brother?
What's up? I heard you mention lucid dreams, and I was like, you know what? Let me jump on here. You were saying some other good stuff too, but
Man, go
you
ahead.
hooked me in with that. Yeah, I've always had lucid dreams ever since I was a kid. I think I mentioned this before. That one Robin Williams movie, "What Dreams May Come," actually kind of sparked my ability to start doing that. But yeah, lucid dreaming is a good thing. I think lucid dreaming is definitely something special. Okay, that's all I got for now.
Have you had any profound lucid dreams? All right. No, that's cool.
I
Yeah.
mean,
Sorry, Andy, I'm back. I had a phone call. Sorry about that.
Yeah. No, that's cool.
profound lucid dreams, I would say no. I had typical lucid dreams, like you fly, you fight monsters, right? You turn into things. But
Anything you can relate to the real world, like prediction or anything?
well, I have learned. Okay, a profound thing I've learned in my lucid dream travels definitely was learning that your emotions has a direct effect on the world around you, and that's a real thing in real life. Your emotions indirectly has a lot of impact on people, like subconsciously, I would say more so than anything else. And yeah, that's kind of it. I mean, even the way it affects your own performance, like the way you feel affects how you perform. And that's just a thing that kind of was really hammered into me when I was in the lucid dream state, because your thoughts and your emotions really has a big impact on your surroundings when you're literally controlling everything with your mind. So there are some correlations. I feel like the only limitations. I feel like reality is more real in in kind of like they say in the dream world, but because I don't know, it feels more real. It really does, and I feel like there's more limitations in this world we're in now as opposed to the dream world. And when we talk about simulations, emulations, recreations, I think limitations is one of uh, the telltale signs of simulation or recreation, because the actual thing, I, which is reality, I think is infinite and it goes on forever. And uh, yeah, there are no limitations in reality, but there are constraints. There are definitely constraints, but yeah, that's it. That's all I got.
That's it on the lucid dreams?
Yeah, because I'm kind of like spiraling. Like uh, I don't really know where to go when we talk about lucid dreams. I mean, I've had so many experiences. I really don't know what to talk about. It's just like a sea, and literally a sea of infinity. Like I, I I've had a dream of yeah, I don't know where to go. Because I wanted to correlate to what we're talking about here, and I do tend to ramble on when I start.
But dreams are a very important part of our reality. I think for me, especially, I've had certain dreams where it's almost like a warning. Like, if you choose this path, this is what's going to happen. So don't do it. And sometimes I have a terrible dream, a real bad situation that happened. But then when I wake up, I'm so thankful. It's like, yeah, don't enter those kind of situations. Watch yourself. And I'm happy and thankful for that dream. It's like a teaching experience. So dreams are powerful. They have to be more analyzed. They definitely play a big role in our life. That's for sure.
You know, I have had a prophetic dream now that I think about it, and I have started seeing it slowly come to pass, and it kind of it kind of like worries me a little bit, especially just seeing how docile everybody is. I had this dream where I don't know who or organizations all around the world they put they put certain types of devices that would release poisonous gas, and these were all set up to clocks all over the world. So specific clocks that had were in heavy populated areas had those things in there. And once all the clocks hit a certain time, the smoke went off, and there was just like this riot police that was going in the streets, and they locked down the whole city because they did like some gridlock thing. So it was gridlock. There was smoke, poisonous smoke everywhere, and then there was the law enforcement in riot gear just going in and like mass exterminating people. And in that dream, they had these barriers. Because back in the day, it was around 2010, 2011 that we didn't have the infrastructure we have now with the roads. And now they're putting up these barriers on the roads. So literally you can't just like go from one lane to another if like just basically do a U-turn. Now there's like a whole uh, concrete barrier separating the two lanes. And in my dream, they had that same barrier. And when I started seeing my city putting up those little concrete uh, dividers in the streets, I was like, "Whoa, this is exactly how my dream was." Like they had those exact same barriers because yeah, in my dream, the cars weren't able to move left or right, and I remember specifically those barriers were a part of that thing that was preventing everybody from moving. So
Wow.
yeah, that's it. That was one prophetic dream. I also had a
But you're
dream
not
when I
the
was.
only one. You're not the only one. A lot of people documented prophetic dreams. A lot of people.
I had more too. I'm not gonna keep on going on. I had more.
It's all good.
Yeah, man. You got more?
Yeah.
Yeah, one more. Okay, I'm gonna say the last one. I
All
was
right.
literally at working at Kitty Park when I was about 16, and 2 years before I worked there, I had a dream that I was at that same exact gate, opening the door with the same clothes on. And then
Mhm.
when I was in that moment, I was like, "Whoa, yo, I this feels like deja vu." Like I literally, I
Two
I,
years before?
I had a dream about this. Yeah, 2 years before.
Wow, so you do have prophetic dreams, man. That's deep. So would you say that the supernatural dreaming, like a type of I don't even know, it's like a telepathy. It's more like a clairvoyance, like you're seeing something from the
Sure.
future, seeing
I think
yourself.
it's a possible timeline, and it's a possible like future. Yeah, it's a possible thing. I think there's a whole bunch of different things that are happening, and
Mhm,
we could probably jump into any one of those depending on our actions.
mhm.
Mhm.
And this came to you in dreams.
What?
This knowledge of foreseeing, because you had the dream and then you saw something later in life like that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It kind of reminds me of the whole butterfly effect. Like the guy goes to sleep, or he like goes back into the past, and his whole future changes. Kind of,
Uh-huh.
it's kind of like that. I think. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Conscious, what's up? How you doing?
What's up? I just you're talking about the dreams and the prophetic stuff, and I don't know. I had a couple, and yeah, one
Please share.
Yeah,
yeah.
let's hear it.
Well, one was like a small one, and it was kind of recent. It was this past year, sometime in the last year. I had it was just like took place at the intermediate school, where I grew up, and but my brother and I were like children in the dream, and like we were sitting on the side curb of like where the buses do the circle or whatever, and there was no buses there, but we were talking there, and I was just asking him like, "Oh, do you think that you made the right decision?" It was just like it was kind of a serious talk, but it wasn't anything like really horrible or anything. But I was just asking him like if he thought he made a good decision, and that's all I remembered. And then like 2 days later, my sister tells me that like my brother had left like working for like her husband. Like my brother-in-law's got this company that my brother was working for probably like 8 or 9 years, and then decided to like leave and start his own business like in competition with it, which I thought was insane. Like they had like a falling out or whatever of just some, financial, like, ego stuff. But, supposedly they're like all going to go to holidays together and everything's cool. But it was just like weird to hear that. And then it was just like, I was like, so it was kind of like about that, it was just, and I told my brother, I was like, I can't believe that. Like, and he's like, well, what did I say? And I go, well, you didn't answer me. Like, like he doesn't really talk a lot. So, I mean, I asked him that, but he didn't say anything. But that was just like one little thing. That's, that doesn't really happen. Like my dreams that are special are very far and few between. But one that I had like 30 years ago, that's the only that I wanted to talk about mainly was that, when I was back in like after college, I had this dream where I was like I was sleeping in the room that I was sleeping in, and but no, I was in the house that I was in the room, but I was in the basement where I was like had my room, and there was like a living room, but there was like big aloe trees that were growing like really, really fast, like exponentially fast, like time elapse, like speeding up. And I only knew aloe to be like, for sunburns or something. If you got an incredible sunburn or something, you could put it on. But these trees of aloe were like growing really, really fast, and they were really busting down the sliding glass door in the basement sliding glass door. And then I was like running away from it and running into my room, and it was like literally coming into my room and breaking down the door, and I'm holding it up like scared, like it's like I'm having this like nightmare of aloe trees busting down my door. And for 30 years I was just wondering like what the hell, but I was so stupid. I didn't even like look into it. I mean, I used to like read some Carlos Castaneda books and try to do that thing where you like look at your hands when you see water, so that you can kind of like enter your dream and be more like conscious or whatever. But I didn't even think, because back then there was no computers, you have the library. And I mean, I should have looked up aloe, but like, I was not really into herbalism or anything back then. So for 30 years, I was just like, that's the strangest dream, and I have no idea what it meant. But like now that I'm doing medical medium, like I eat aloe every day, like every day for helping. I mean, it's such a healing food for digestion and gut issues, and I mean, it's just like a miracle food. And so like, yeah, I buy it by the case. So anyway, that was a prophetic dream to myself, but I didn't understand it until I started practicing what I'm doing now. So that's all I wanted to share.
Yeah, that's pretty deep. Yeah, so you've been very experienced with lucid dreaming, then, kind of like the mind. Uh,
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I know exactly lucid dreaming. I mean, there's like visions and
like
dreaming.
he had the prophetic dream, right?
Yeah, those two are like prophetic, where they actually like showed something that actually provably happened, like they were directly related. But I think a lot of my other dreams, like the one I had about the Moloch statue falling off the stage, like within like, I don't know how long it was. Maybe it wasn't right away. I didn't see the statues like, all the Middle Eastern countries that were, like having Moloch things, like, and then burning them, like that happened in like, I don't know, 5 or 6 countries, some in South America. That was kind of prophetic, but like I think it has many more symbolisms that are coming, that like it's like that's why I believe, like, I have a little bit more faith in the whole thing that you guys think I have a mental illness over. I mean, I think it's funny. I normally would like defend myself, but I don't care if you guys think I'm crazy. Like, time will tell. Time will tell everything. I don't give a shit. I know
We're the
I am.
craziest. We're the craziest here. Trust me.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm not used to anyone like saying something like that and just eating it. But it's good for the ego to be like, yeah, whatever. I mean, I can't. Not everybody's gonna respect or appreciate. And I know it sounds crazy. So it's like, but I'm putting myself out there. So I mean, I'm asking for the abuse. I mean, and as I've mentioned, there's a lot of things like, you guys were all kind of like a little bit of outliers. We're kind of used to people like thinking that we're like crazy, right? Like outside of the box or whatever. So it's just typical. So but yeah, I mean, I've had like lots of little glimpses, and like going to the meditation center when if you ever do one of those like 10-day silent retreats, I highly recommend it. Even though I can't actually go now. Like one of the teachers was an asshole and like started some trouble where I can't even go. But like 10-day silent retreats, like the dreams that you get there, like I looked in the mirror, I was like different people. Like I woke up one time, instead of just being like, where am I? Because, growing up in a family that I traveled a lot because my mom was a flight attendant, I got to travel a lot. So like, you'd have dreams and be like, oh my God, am I like in California or am I in New York? Like, where am I? And living in different places. But this dream, I was like in there, and I was like, I woke up and I was like, oh my God, where am I? And I said, who am I? Like, I didn't even know who I was. Like, that was like the trippiest. I was like, I didn't even remember what my identity was. Like, that was insane. That was really cool, I thought. But then, and I've had these dreams where I'm like being like I don't know what you call it, like shunted through like a square tunnel, like not like a circular tunnel. It's like a geometric tunnel, like square, and like being shot through this thing that's like, you see like, I don't know, like a hallway, like but a square, and then getting dropped out into like space, and I was like floating with no gravity, like in the cosmic space, like black space with stars, and like I'm hearing like the harper bells of like, what they put in like the baby mobiles, like the little like ding ding ding, like, or like I don't know what you call them, like jewelry boxes for little girls, like there's these little chimes or bells, like I was hearing that, and I was just like floating in space. But I think I actually saw these like little cherubs, or like little like square cubes that had like little like angels. Remember that there's a clothing company back in the 80s that was popular? It was called Fiorucci. It was like a New York City store that was popular. Do you remember that, MD?
Yeah, Ferrucci.
Fiorucci, yeah,
Yeah,
Ferrucci. Yeah, they
yeah.
had like these little emblems of like cherubs, and like, but mine was like, it was like a little baby's like ABC cube. It was like a little wooden square cube, and this is what I'm envisioning. What I kind of remember, I don't remember in vivid detail, but it was like little boxes. That looks like a scary Alice in Wonderland. Oh my God.
Yeah, we're all mad in here, right?
But there was this little cube, and it had little cherub like angels on it, and it was just like I was just floating in space, and I was like, okay, like I went through like a portal or something. But I just get short glimpses. But like I don't know. Yeah, I don't really know. How would you define lucid dream? Just, or is it the ones where you're only like in your bed where you're at exactly, and you wake up and you know you're half asleep? Because I had a
Well,
lot of
really,
them.
no, more like when you're dreaming, and then in the middle of the dream, you realize you're dreaming. It's
You're
like
dreaming.
usually it happens right when you're coming out of the dream, like maybe the last minute, 30 seconds even. That
Right.
could feel like a longer time, but that moment when you realize that there are some things you can do to change the dream knowingly,
Yeah.
like, and it's really deep. It definitely gets deep.
I was
When,
never able to change it though. I tried. Well, one time I was. Yeah. You've been able to change it. I didn't. I wasn't able to. I tried once, but it was actually a visitation from like some, I don't know, demon or
yeah, yeah, and
entity.
then there's, yeah, exactly. There's messages and stuff. So there's lucid dreaming. Uh, I don't even know. Like when you think about it, it's like, let's just say you have a dream that's a visitation. Could that even turn into something like another dream before you wake up? Like,
It did.
because
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, mine did. I'm sorry. It was a scary thing, and I was scared for the first time in my life when I had them. But anyway, go on. Yeah, but you're able to change your lucid dreams. You can go in there and actually like
well,
direct the dream.
I was in one lucid dream, and it was like a very large body of water in like the tropics, like in the Amazon, and the water wasn't clear, but it was clean. And I was in the dream, I was frightened because the water was like, it was like, I mean, 60, 70 feet wide, 80 feet deep, just, it felt that way. And I realized, I was like, oh, I'm in the dream about to, wake up, I think. And I just thought to myself, the water should be clear. And the water immediately became clear. And I could see, so now with the water being clear, it seems a little safer. And then I think I made it to like a raft. It was like a part of the river that had like a tree, because see, the dream doesn't follow the rules of reality. And it was like, if I could draw it out, it was sort of like, the one thing was I was treading the water, and I turned it clear from being cloudy kind of. And that was one thing. And then there was another one where I was dreaming and somebody was touching my toe, but in the dream it felt like a mouse was touching, like it was my foot was under the desk and I was reading something in the dream. And then when I woke up, my girlfriend was touching my toe. And I'm like, holy smokes, I felt you touching my foot, but it was the mouse under the desk that I was dreaming. So it was sort of like, I mean, it was really amazing. It was very, I've had some very, very amazing experiences with dreaming. And, had like, I don't know if it would be called connection, but yeah.
Yeah, no, that's cool. I love it. I'm very fascinated with the dream world, very much. So
Yeah, I think there's a lot we can learn from that. Also about ourselves, like learn about like the prophetic dreams that the mind had to see that the scenery is there, like either the highway with the divider and stuff like that. That's pretty prophetic. That's kind of like I think the Hopi natives used to say that I think it was a dream where it would be like these uh shiny paths or something, I think, and that would could represent the asphalt roadways, and the buffalo would be black and white, and that's like the cows, the black and white cows. So it changed from the buffalo with the wild landscape to the roads, the shiny roads with the cattle, and it was prophesized through a dream. You can look it up. They have like documentation of it and stuff.
right. What do you guys think about like certain dreams? Like I feel like some of them may show like past lives, or I mean it could be other people's lives. Um, because
Mm.
I mean I remember a dream like kind of being put through a wood chipper.
Well, we believe in genetic memory. I mean, well, me and MD, I think, do. That we hold our DNA. We believe that it holds memories of our ancestors, and sometimes we could see those memories in our dreams.
Yeah. And
But
I think it might be true scientifically, like to at least to a few generations, but
Sure.
probably to all.
right, I definitely believe that. But also, I mean, I also believe that we live many many lives. I mean, do you guys not do you agree with that or no?
You mean reincarnation?
Yeah.
I don't believe in reincarnation personally, but that's my belief system.
I think we can reincarnate, but it's different kinds of things. We could reincarnate. It might not be on this level, and it might not be 100% human kind of.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, it's a possibility. I don't think if you wonder, it's like I'm trying to figure out what this is. And yeah, reincarnation, I wonder about it, but I don't know. Like this existence itself, I'm not sure what it is. Like, what if it's hmm I mean, it could be simulation like, but it definitely, the simulation thing is hard to beat, because if when you die you go to, some people believe it's heaven, some people believe it's nothing, some people believe it's something that they just don't understand what it is. But um if if you're going somewhere, I don't know where, like how we got here. So say we go somewhere else, right? But what if it's not like it is how we are now? What if we're something else? We're not a human being. Because that, I think, is the assumption that is made of thinking, okay, if it's heaven, if it's this, if it's hell, you're going there as a human being. So what if we're going to the next as something different
Right.
that we don't even know what it is?
Right. Well, what I mean, I'm just like, if we don't learn, a lot of people get stuck in their stuff and they may have to come back, or learn many different things. I think it's possible or unlikely that we have, thousands of lives before we move on to like other dimensions or other galaxies or whatever, planets, different like creations or whatever. But like, that idea about, if I went through a wood chipper, if that happened, I would die after that. So I wouldn't really pass on the memory to anybody because, it's not like I had a baby after that. So that theory doesn't really work. But I could say, I mean, but I believe that genetic memory is true. But in that case, I don't think that's possible. But, before I ever did any drugs, like when I was like 13 or 12, I don't remember, but I I was at a friend's house, like her family, like farm family out in Long Island. They had like some property like in Sagaponack near the ocean, and I just happened to spend like I went out to lay in the dunes or whatever and like look at the clouds going by like before there was a lot of chemtrails, and I was just like out there just like whatever like watching them like go by, and then I just started like I didn't know anything about it, but like that whole thing called like self inquiry that like Ramakrishna or Ramana Maharshi or whatever talks about. Like I just started saying what I'm having, like what is being alive mean. Like I just started asking these questions like, well, I'm having these thoughts right now because I'm alive, and anything I've ever thought ever is only because I'm alive. But like, what if I wasn't alive? And like, what was I before I was alive? And I was just like, well, what if I was dead right now? Like, would I still be having these thoughts? Like, I was just like asking these things to myself. And then I was like, well, what would happen if I died? And I kind of visualized myself like with like a guillotine, like my head being chopped off. And then when I did that, like it was like a trip. It was like my brain, like kind of like, I don't know, like I couldn't describe it. I still can't really describe it, but it was like a trip. Like I had this realization. I was just like, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. And it was like, I couldn't really put it into words, but after like 15, 20 years and then going to the meditation centers, I like that feeling. It was basically like, I could put it into words as basically like, I've always been alive. I've always existed. I'm never going to die. Like, it's just like, I was eternal. And like, I knew it at that age, but like, I never really like applied it. You still get lost in your ego and you just have your life and you have fun and whatever, stuff happens. But like, that was something that like, I know that, but I've always existed. Well, whenever my soul was created, I guess. But I feel like we have a spark of the creator, the original creator inside of us. And that's, I think, what I was tapping into. Like, when you die, like, you always are connected to that infinite source of all that is. But anyway.
Conscious, would you ever be open to the idea that we existed before our birth, that we lived in spirit for maybe a long time?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Totally. Yeah, and we even have times in between, I think. I don't think you go right into the birth canal, but I mean, but there might be something going on right now where certain, consciousness are trying to like, whatever, dominate and control our lives and keep us stuck in like, some kind of, place where we get, harvested for loosh or whatever, energies, slavery, whatever it is.
I always find it amazing once the sperm reaches the egg, and MD's talked about this in one of his books, but there's like a flash of light. There's a flash of light. Now they explain it chemically, but what if that's our spirit entering our body with that flash of light?
Yeah, it could be.
Yeah, they say that it's actually it sparks the heartbeat. So the heartbeat comes before the brain. So it's like when we think with the brain, we might be forgetting that one of probably more powerful than the brain in as being a sensory organ is probably the heart.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a 2 hertz frequency. It's 2 hertz, same as Taylor Swift's music.
Oh man,
I'm sure you're gonna be going to the Madison Square Garden wedding, right, for Taylor Swift, MD?
I heard something. You told me it's in Manhattan.
Yeah, it's in Manhattan, Madison Square Garden.
Oh, because I did see like the ad all over the place.
Well, that's all they're talking about in the news. That's the most important topic going on right now.
What chapter of Revelations is this? What chapter of Revelations? Is this chapter 11 or 12?
Yeah,
I think I saw it in the thumbnail. And
well, down here, that's all they talk about. I mean, they must be talking crazy in New York.
Madison Square Garden, holy smokes!
Yeah,
that's crazy. That is crazy. It's like you're talking about distraction 101.
Mm-hmm.
This is Trailer Swift.
You'll see the zombies.
Trailer Swift, that's hilarious. I didn't know that. I haven't seen that anywhere. Who's she getting married to? Some like sports person, some ball?
Yeah, the tight end Travis Kelce for the Chiefs.
Ball chaser.
I'm a football chaser. Trust me, so I know my football.
Yeah, that's the military psyop. They're like, okay, the Hollywood marriage, basically.
Yeah.
kind of like, all of the actors and stuff. It's all. I mean, her music, that were
Fucking
people.
Hollywood Squares. They can't keep that show on, but they sure try, right? With all the other media.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, definitely. It's crazy, man. The music is used like on that level because what do they call the little followers of her, like Swifties or something? It's like you have like she has like an army of like just uh fans that
Unix. Unix.
it just yeah, it's crazy, man. It's just like holy smokes. That you look at most of the, well, all of them basically, of the pop, rock, rap, all of those stars, the alternative. I mean, it's there's so many genres now, and music is music, the electronic, the just look at the name, the techno, the what is it, the trance, the name trance. So trance music, and of course, what would it do? It would put you in a trance. But I was looking up the danger of making someone aware. So you can't wake anybody up, but the danger of making somebody aware to something that they might not be able to handle. Um, Now that could cause trauma. It could cause trigger it trigger someone. So the trauma is basically that shock is when they say that somebody gets triggered, which is kind of in some senses, of course, we've all seen the triggered videos, which are kind of hilarious when people do that, but it shows us you know, a basically a cognitive dissonance, a severe one at that, defensive psychological denial, which can trigger shock and, they get triggered. So the ego collapse, the overwhelming truth can shatter that self image. And
So initiation processes aren't necessarily like a bad thing, right?
well, it depends. That's the thing. Everything is in context. So it's like if it's something where you have to experience something spiritual, you got to look at the safety of it, one, and the sensibility of it, and say, okay, what is it? Um, there's a lot of deep stuff that people will agree or not agree. Like you got some people that will endure pain. You look at some of those religions with the gurus and stuff like that, the sleeping on the hard, iron bed or whatever like that, or the sheets with the prickly things and all of that. So it's like a discipline, not torture, but I would say it's like an uncomfortable thing. And in that, I don't know what they're seeking to find, but a lot of their
Advertising back then, to be like, this guys could do this, then you'll get something by learning from them. If they can lay on a bed of nails or walk on coals, you want to learn if you could feel no pain. But basically, they're just sucking it up better. Like that's
yeah.
all.
Well, yeah. So I mean, it definitely is. The mind has like extreme powers. It shows us that mind over matter is actually a reality, and that's something that they don't want people to know. But it can be provable, but it's hard to prove it because if you don't fully have your mind intact, you can get burned, you can get hurt. If you're trying to, that's why they say don't attempt to do any of these because people try to do that and they don't realize like, hey, you got to be in the right mind frame. So that tells us that the mind can overcome what we think that the physical can't overcome in certain circumstances, like the cold walkers and stuff like that. Which is, it's kind of like, you think about that. It's like who thought that up? Who thought? You think of it's like, okay, who thought, hey man, we're gonna have this ritual where we walk across these hot coals. I just don't get where somebody would think about that. Like how did that even get developed?
He probably had a dream about it.
Wow. Oh man. But
The version of Guinness Book of World Records, the 400 AD version. They're
Mhm.
like, throw this in there. The other guy did 5 feet. I'm going to do 12 feet of hot coals.
Could have been demonic possession, you know? Who knows?
I mean, yeah, it makes me wonder. It's like, okay, what were they using the hot coals for? Was it like cooking, and then afterwards somebody was like, let me try to run across these, or
Yeah, doesn't make sense.
or yeah, I mean, I'm not sure. Like, it could be something like frailty. Like, if you see that movie, it's pretty deep, but like maybe it came to them in the dream, like the mindset, uh,
Well,
which
self-mutilation's been going on since biblical times. Now, according to the Bible, it's a form of demonic possession. But people have been self-mutilating themselves since the beginning of mankind.
crazy, man. Yeah, that's crazy.
Hmm.
It's like, uh, I think there's definitely different versions of that might, um, express it in different ways. Yeah, yeah, but
But it's been a problem for human beings, I'm saying,
there are
since
some
our
stories
inception.
in there. Yeah, there are some stories in there that are frightening.
Hmm.
There are definitely some stories in it. It just, when you think about that, it's crazy because I mean, there's not much that people can say about that, and it's not like we're saying anything bad about anything. We're just saying, look, there's some crazy stuff in there. That's written. Yeah, you
I mean,
know.
you look at the piercing some people get. What is that all about? They just go nuts sometimes, you know. Some people get their they pierce their mouth shut.
Yeah, I
What's
think there's something. I don't know if it's an addiction or whatever.
that? Hmm.
Like to kind of like sometimes people get tattoos and they get addicted to getting tattoos.
Yeah. I mean, why would you want to pierce your tongue? For what reason? What purpose does that serve? You know?
Yeah.
I mean, they say it serves a certain purpose, but it's like you got
It's
problems.
trends, just like the walking on fire. I looked up walking on the fire, guys. So
Mhm.
basically, it's a reoccurring trend that's happened since 1200 BC in ancient India. The Mahabharata, where the goddess Draupadi walked through fire to prove her absolute purity and devotion after suffering immense trials. It inspired the annual Timothy or Timothy festival practice today. And then ancient Rome, it says that the Herpes Cerani during annual sacrifices to Apollo, they walked over charred logs without being burned. This displayed their faith and it earned them permanent exemption from military service. And then in Christianity, in ancient Greece, when it converted to Christianity in 1250, they said that the village of Kasti broke fire in the church of St. Constantine, and the villagers all ran in to save people, and no one got burned. So that became a ritual to saving the people from that fire. Was they walk on hot coals to display their faith
Mm.
Wow.
from the old Greek Christian church in 1250 was the last big reason that they people do that for
Hmm.
faith. But ancient India was the first recorded one, and that's 1200 BC.
Wow. And that's just because like on those islands and stuff, they definitely seems like there was some type of ancient cataclysm or something like that, and may have been like some very vast civilizations in the distant past. They don't really want people to know the true origins of humanity or life in general. It's very I mean, why would they? you know um Conscious Rising says could be from funeral pies. um I don't know if that's something we were talking about earlier, possibly. um but yeah, the psychological and the projection, the what when you try to wake somebody up, how we're saying that you can't wake anybody up, that the ego collapse, and without the proper tools to manage the emotional fallout, it can lead to intense anxiety, panic attacks, depression even. This is why it's very careful on waking people up, because we see that some people, I've seen people get depressed in the news alone. It's like, if they say people who watch less news are happier, because I mean, look at what it's pushing constantly. It's crazy.
Yeah, I was just talking about. I didn't want to interrupt before, but I was saying when you said where do you think they originated that from, and I wrote probably maybe on funeral pyres, where they have all the dead bodies, so they have all this hot coal, so they'd be like walking on them, because whatever. And then he just said India, so yeah, it kind of matches up with that. But you're wondering what I wrote from before?
Oh, okay, yeah. I see what you're saying. Yeah, it's crazy when you think about all of the ancient customs, and it probably goes back further, you know. But yeah, um, yeah. It's 12:40. I'm gonna get ready to. I gotta get up early, but I appreciate you guys being here. Everybody in the chat. Uh, yeah, every night, So yeah, we'll talk again soon. Take care. Have a good night.
Adios. Thanks again.